left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Hello.
Welcome to episode 36,
Holy
aka
smacks.
the second episode on YouTube officially. This is our second episode that we've actually done live on our YouTube channel since moving from Twitch.
The previous episodes were an alternate universe.
Yep, it's different canon. Didn't count. Yeah, it did count actually. Anyway, as our people come on in to watch, I'm going to take care of a little bit of business as usual. First of all, we're going to talk about our mystery pool box, which is up on the screen right now, which is our Two Fat Guys Pool List mystery pool for the month of April. Yeah, this is a good one. So last week we gave away the big prize was a 9.8 CBCS graded Department of Truth #1. And so this month, for the month of April, we are giving away some custom art. So Ron had commissioned by Brian Dunham, this kick-ass Avengers Avenging Spider-Man cover, which is the rendition of the first appearance of Punisher.
Homage to 129.
129. It's a pretty sick cover. I definitely want this. But one lucky winner for our April books will get this. We'll end up getting this cover. So this is the grand prize for the month of April.
Sick.
Also, let's just break down the box really quick so everyone knows what they'll be getting in the box. You'll get one store exclusive, which we'll show in a bit, 4 to 7 back issues, which will consist of anywhere between bronze, silver, or modern age books, and the chance to win that custom art that I just showed you. The only difference on here is that we haven't updated the art. The box is now up to $40 plus shipping, just because we actually have a custom printed box now that has some really cool stuff on it. And then we might, as we go along, we might switch it up. We might actually get some actual artwork like inside the box, so it makes it even more of a collectible item. But so yeah, that's coming up this month in April. And then the store exclusive is Magic #1 from Boom by John Haas. This is the store variant, and apparently John does a lot of the cards for Magic. So this is some legit artwork, and you see it on the screen. But what if you saw it on the screen in my hands?
Oh,
so everybody that orders a box in April will get this book. So go ahead and sign up. It's brainycomics.com. And then we are like the third or fourth option. It's the Two Fat Guys Pool List mystery pool. So go ahead, subscribe to that. You don't want to miss out. And then we're going to continue to give some kick-ass books out, cool store exclusives. Who knows? If we continue to grow the community, we might put more than one store exclusive in there. We might get 2, maybe even 3. We have to continue to. We got to continue to grow the community, and we can give more. You can get more for your money. So that is that for that news. And then really quick, we're going to talk about what we're doing here on our YouTube channel. So if you are already part of the community, guess what? You've already entered to win our slab giveaway. If you're not subscribed to our channel, well, what are you doing? You definitely need to be subscribed, because we're giving away slabs, graded slabs, at certain YouTube subscription milestones. So the first slab we're giving away, which we're really close to, I think we just hit 77 subscribers today, But when we hit 100, we're giving away this 9.6 Wolverine's Origins #2 1 in 50 Canadian variant. So this is the first book that we will be giving away, when we hit 100, which we're really, really close. So there's the first one. The second one we'll give away at 250 subscribers. We're giving away this 9.8 CGC graded Batman Who Laughs. I always have to look at it. Dark Knight's metal tie-in, not death metal.
Yes, not death metal.
But it's a nice shiny cover. 9.8 CGC graded. At 500. Now this is the one where these next two slabs are where Nate is like, why? Why are we giving away these books?
I might have to be creating some fake YouTube accounts to make sure these books don't go away.
Can't do that. Anyway.
You'll never know.
No, we will know. Is the stream up? Do you see the stream?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
The one that we're giving away at 500 subscribers, 9.4, CGC graded, Wolverine #1 from his first ongoing series from 1988. So we don't want to give it away, but if we hit 500 subscribers, we're gonna give it away. So that's happening. And then, last but not least, when we hit, hopefully before the year end, 1,000 subscribers, we're giving away a 9.8 CBCS graded Original Sin Amazing Spider-Man #4 First Appearance of Silk. I say it every live stream. Nate really doesn't want me to give away this book.
No.
Because by the time we actually do give it away, it's probably going to be worth a shit ton of money.
Oh my god.
But we're going to give it away because we're just that crazy. Or at least I'm that crazy.
Yeah.
So
You crazy.
We go. I'm not crazy. I mean, I am. But anyway, that is what we're giving away for our YouTube milestones as of right now. So go ahead. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Never miss any Two Fat Guys Pools content. And with that being said, let's get the show started, shall we?
Yeah.
We have.
Oh.
We have. Well, hold on. I just want to mark how many books we have. So we've been saying on social we have 23. How about let's add 3? So we have 26 books.
Is that enough books for you?
We have 26 books to review. So some of the reviews we do might be pretty fast. Some might be a little more extensive. So just buckle up, get ready, drink some coffee, whatever you do, and let's get this show started. So, like I said, or like Nate was about to say, we start the show off with Venom #34, the second to last issue in the Donny Cates run.
Yes. So we're also going to be doing a slightly new format here, where we're going to take turns, essentially giving you a little bit of synopsis of the book and then analysis of the book. So here is our synopsis for, oh my god, sorry, the tripod is in the way of my reading, so excuse me. Didn't think that one through, did I?
No, right. we gotta get that show. By the way, before he starts, Nate's got a new setup. Look at that. He's got beautiful lights. He's got a new camera. He looks like all Sithy and evil because he's got that red light on his face. Like,
yeah,
dope.
I mean, it's true.
All right, let's get into it. Venom #34.
Yes, we're wasting too much time here. All right, so this issue, we start out, we are still in the, symbiote zone. Eddie is, at least.
Hive Mind.
Hive Mind, thank you. Also, this really badass panel of the Flash Gordon dragon fighting just another dragon. Anyway, so Null is literally, as a flashback to issue 1 of King in Black, is holding out Eddie once again, about to drop him and basically telling him, like, it's over, it's done, nothing's going to happen here. You are defeated once and for all. I am going to do to you what I have done in real life, and now you are going to be done and killed forever. You'll be out of the codex, you won't be a memory, you'll be nothing. And as he drops him, he is saved by Venom. Venom actually is able to break free from whatever Null was, I think Null at one point says, like, I thought I killed you, no. And Venom is able to, envelop Eddie and, fly to safety so that they don't actually crash and die. Then Venom basically reveals that Eddie isn't, Eddie says, how are you able to do this? I thought I was just a memory. And he says, no, Venom says you're part of the codex of the symbiotes. And so if you're in a symbiote, then your consciousness is around.
I got you, Bo.
Yeah, as long as you're in a symbiote, you're good.
Right.
Venom says you just have to imagine what you want to be, and Eddie's like, okay, yeah, I think I got an idea. He turns into this ultra massive, huge version of Venom. So they basically go up. They get out of the hive mind and go back to reality and start just kicking the shit out of dragons. At one point, he like picks one up like a little toy and then stands on the side of a building, King Kong style. Mm-hmm. I thought that was hilarious. But then Eddie realizes that, he's like, oh shit, where's Dylan? Like, I gotta go. I'm back in reality now. I need to go help Dylan. And so as he races towards Dylan, all of a sudden we see a bright light in the sky. And Venom starts falling off Eddie. And Eddie starts falling again. And Eddie's like, God damn it, what is happening? We gotta keep falling. This keeps happening. And Venom's like, no. Chill, my dude. This is a good thing. You're gonna want this. We need to go so you can let this happen, but don't worry, we'll be back.
Yep.
And Eddie is powered by the Enigma Force.
Consumed, yes.
Consumed by the Enigma Force.
Resurrected.
And that's the thing is, Eddie. So at this point, Venom is dissipating away from Eddie, but Eddie falling is not actually happening. Like that's just what his consciousness feels, because he's dead, right? Like he only lives by being part of the hive mind. But now Eddie's corpse, where he is in the room with like Mr. Fantastic, literally becomes consumed with the Enigma Force, and Eddie is resurrected. So now Eddie's actual physical body is alive again, and he is powered by Captain Universe. So that's how we end Eddie's story, but it's not how the book ends. We get 3 additional pages of the white Flash Gordon dragon flying towards a cemetery in Arlington National Cemetery, and we see a hand pop up from the grave of Flash Gordon. So, looks like old Flashy might be coming back to life here too.
Whee. Real quick before we keep on going, Luby, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I picked the wrong stream in Discord in Streamlabs, so it's on the different stream. I fucked up. So I don't know how to fix that. I'll try to figure it out. I picked episode 35 instead of 36, and so it's in a different stream. So I got to figure out how to fix that. So my bad. Back to the book. This issue for me felt more complete. Felt more complete than the previous. I guess since Brock has been in the hive mind, if you will.
Yes.
This actually felt like a Donny Cates flushed out idea. It still felt a little rushed, but the flow of it felt more Donny Cates rather than like, I just got to write this and get this over with. It felt more like a genuine Donny Cates Venom story rather than a side piece to the King in Black tie-in.
I gotcha. Well, it also felt to me the most consequential of all of the Venom tie-ins. A lot of them were very much just like insights into what was going on with Eddie, and this was too. But without this book, I really don't. You would just be like, wait, so is Eddie alive now, and that's it? Or like this does a really good job of explaining to you the convoluted way that Eddie gets out of just being a codex in the hive mind to actually being a resurrected human body again.
Yep. But overall, I enjoyed the book, and it really got me hyped for the King in Black issue 5. And I think we'll get into King in Black next. But it really like drummed up the just getting you ready, because we told all our readers, like, you need to read this issue first before you read King in Black 5, because obviously Donny Cates said that, and but overall it was a really good issue. I mean, it just felt more Donny Cates, it felt more genuine Venom than the previous 3 issues. I think it did a really good job of like coming back to Earth in the sense of bringing the original storyline feel of Venom that's been going on almost 35 issues now.
Yeah, I also think usually I get kind of frustrated when a main artist is pulled off of their book during a event. Now, I totally understand why. It makes sense. Stegman was, couldn't do both. But usually the person that they get to replace him is not very good. Coelho did a fantastic job in this book. Like, his art in this book, I showed a few panels off, but it was just huge. It was big and just bombastic, and it took up a lot of the page, and it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I think Stegman did a great job on the artwork, and it flowed well, and Donny did a great job. Like, it felt like his genuine writing rather than a rushed piece of of just getting it out so that you could get to King in Black. I think it just felt more genuine for sure. Hold on really quick. I'm trying to... Okay, cool. All right, so next up, we will hit up King in Black number 5. So this issue, everybody's losing their minds on this. The community is losing their minds. I've seen multiple people pick this book as their pick of the week. Jim Mint picked it as his pick of the week.
Did he really?
And he did. But let's just run through it. So, synopsis of the book. Venom shows back up. The book opens up and it looks like Silver Surfer's gonna have to defend. Like, he's gonna have to play defender until Venom shows up, because he knows he's coming. Surfer? Well, it starts off, he looks like Silver Surfer Black, and then the next page he's Silver. So I don't know what the heck is going on there. I don't know if that's a... We'll get back...
Let's drop the ball on this.
We'll get into that when we actually do the analysis of the book. But anyway, Surfer creates his board into a sword. He's about to go toe-to-toe with Null. And then, everybody that's been in the entire issue, if they've been nullified or not, are now heading towards Surfer trying to help. Like, here we go, Avengers assemble. Wolverine, Cyclops, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, Thing, the whole gang. They're all headed that way. And then, boom, who shows up? But Venom, all decked out in his original suit, but he's, like, radiating energy. He's just fucking ready to go. He's like, this is mine, guys. and Noel overplays it, right? He's like, I've killed you once, I'll kill you again. I don't care. I don't care if you have the God of Light, which he kind of said when he has that talk with Eddie. It's almost like he's having the talk with Eddie and the God of Light, the Enigma, because he has before. He's literally killed both of them before. And so while he's doing his little, evil speech, Venom pulls Surfer's sword / board into his hand, and he calls Mjolnir into his hand, in his other hand, and combines the two to create what I think is, and I think a lot of people have said this too, the most epic Marvel weapon ever, right? Not really. It is pretty dope. Not much explanation to how he's able to do it. I think it's pretty much implied. I think Donny is like saying, duh, like, this is what needs to happen. We'll get into that later. But when he puts it together, he creates this giant symbiote looking axe, just murder axe, that it's amazing. And he goes to town. And at this point in the book, it's Null versus Venom. And actually Null is actually running for his life. He is freaking the hell out. And Venom is chopping dragons in half. He's just laying waste. And at one point, Null's like, nah, forget this. I'm going to pull out my Necro Sword. I'm just going to end this. And Venom does the whole, like, Neo thing, where, like, when Neo, like, realizes he has powers and he, like, stops the bullets, and then he picks one out and then drops it, and then they all drop. He does the same thing. And he stops the blade of Null, like, tink, and then the Necro Sword just dissolved, and he's like, all right, cool, and smashes smashes the axe into Noel, and it's just a full on. Noel doesn't stand a chance. Like,
no,
it doesn't work. This whole thing that Noel has been doing is he just looks like a rag doll the entire time. And at one point, Noel impales, or I'm sorry, I keep on saying Noel and Venom. Venom impales Noel, and you'll find out why I keep on saying that, with the axe, and rips off his symbiote armor, strips him naked, and then flies to the sun and basically incinerates Noel. Just done. So this happens. This essentially happens. It's the first half of the book. All this probably happens in the first half of the book, right? So action-packed, very fast-paced, classic Donny voice in the writing. Like it did feel like a movie. Like the pacing of the action felt like a movie. So he kills Noel fairly easy. Now, it doesn't happen quickly, I will say that. Like, he didn't go bang, boom, bam, 3 pages in, you're dead. Like, it took a significant amount of almost more than halfway through the issue to kill Noel. I will say that. After he does it, all the symbiotes start retreating. We get this really weird thing about Blade in Chernobyl defending symbiotes with the vampires there. We're not getting that actual story until 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now.
Silly.
That doesn't make any damn sense. Anyway, Venom comes back, or he doesn't come back. First, the weapon comes back, lands in front of Thor and Surfer, and they both call their weapons back. And I think out of both of them, Thor probably looks the most like, A, don't ever do that again, but how did you do that, right?
Right.
And then Venom shows back up. He's all, still kind of have the Enigma Force, this godly force in front of him, but he has to find Dylan because Dylan is corrupted. He's been corrupted by Noel while everybody else is like celebrating and yay, we won. And his only concern right now, obviously, is his son. So when he finds Dylan, this is where I thought the issue was going. Like, I was like, okay, so Noel's gone, but clearly his son is still dealing with some shit, right?
Right.
And Noel, Eddie finds Dylan, realizes that Dylan has a fragment of Noel inside of him. And so, at this point I'm thinking, well, here we go. This is going to be the big sacrifice. This is where, it's not going to be easy to just get rid of this attached part of Noel into Dylan. And it's actually like no effort at all. Really. Eddie puts his like force hand into Dylan, pulls out the fragment and just crushes it and saves Dylan. And then the Enigma Force is like, cool, I'm out. I helped you and now I'm leaving. So Eddie had the Enigma Force for probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so now he's resurrected. He gets his symbiote back. He gets Venom back. And the issue ends with Eddie now being praised by the other symbiotes as the King in Black. And that's how the issue ends. When I read it initially, I told you that the weapon being constructed for me was the best part of the book.
Yeah.
But I felt, and this pains me, it really pains me to say this because I am a diehard Donny Cates fan. And I think that's why I'm saying what I'm about to say, because I was disappointed. I was disappointed how it ended. It just didn't feel, it didn't feel as epic as it was being drawn out to be. And it lacked explanation. And Noel was literally just pinked. And that, maybe there's something to be said in that, right? Because Eddie is so powerful with this God of Light, and the explanation of the fact that the Enigma Force had picked so many multiple individuals to fight evil, that now that it was solely concentrating on one individual, that yes, they are overwhelmingly powerful, right? But me and you as readers and us kind of reading into things are making that assumption. I'm only making that assumption tonight. I didn't do that when I first read the book. I was like, wait, what is going on here? Like, it just kind of it felt rushed. It felt rushed like the rest of the series.
Yeah. It did. And I mean, it almost felt like Donny was doing a little bit more with a cool factor here than, I don't know, telling a deep story. I just, at the end of the day, to me, Noel showed up on Earth and basically stood on a building for 4 issues and yelled, and then got the shit beat out of him by the Enigma Force Venom, and then that was it. And we had some cool weapons and some neat symbiote fights that had nothing to do with Noel, but other than that,
yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, when we talked to Jacob about the issue, he kind of felt the same way at the story. And then he said, you know, maybe issue 35 or 200, whatever, however you want to look at it, will be where everything is set up for the future of Venom and or other things for Donny Cates' Venom, which I'm kind of, now the more that I think about it and after I've read this again, maybe, because, you know, issue 20 is going to be 80 pages long. It's going to be a thick book.
Oh, is it really?
Yes. Like, somebody asked Donny, like, how many pages is it going to be? And issue 200 or 35 is going to be 80 pages long. So, you know, maybe he's going to stuff more in there. And I bet he does. But, you know, issue 3 in this series was probably peak. You know, it was I think the best issue. And then, you know, and 4 was good too. But after the action, it just felt really rushed. And I think I've said that consistently throughout this event is King in Black, like, we were so excited for it. So then when we got to it, it was just like, go, like 60 miles an hour. And I've kind of been like, well, hey, whoa, wait. And then, you know, halfway through the event, we get notified, hey, by the way, Donny Cates is done after King in Black. And so when you take that information and you read this book, it's like, it almost feels like they told Donny Cates, wrap it up. It's time to go. Like,
yeah,
you know, and also I think Donny's like, yeah, I'm kind of done. I'm finished with Venom. I'm ready to move on. And, you know, we've both talked about our, I wouldn't say we're not upset about it, but we're concerned that he's picking up so many other, like, projects, and they're good projects. Crossover, great. All right, he's going into Spawn. That makes me go like, hey, I want to read whatever Donny Cates is writing. Like, I know you're saying no to that, but like, me personally, I want to read it. But that being said, I don't want it to take away from the stuff that I really enjoy him writing, which is Marvel. And so, yes, I'm intrigued to see what his next book is going to be. But, you know, Venom for me was just really fun to get into and like hunt for issues because it was so good. And then we get to this event, and I just feel like it was very flat. It just felt flat. Now, Ryan Stegman's artwork, fantastic. He killed it. You know, and again, like we say right now, the only weird thing about this issue is Silver Surfer is black in one page, and then he's silver in the other, and we don't know if that's a coloring. Is that a color issue, or is this another implied story thing where, like, oh, he's in front of Noel, and now he can finally shed his corruptness to be back to silver? We don't know because it's not explained.
Right.
And I'd love to be like, hey, so why is Silver Surfer silver by the end of this book?
We're definitely gonna have to tweet at Donny and see what he says.
Yeah. But, you know, and I hate, I've told you this numerous times, Nate, like, I don't like being negative on books, and I really don't like being negative about this, but it just didn't feel, it just felt like a very overwhelmingly fast-paced ending, and it just was like, let's just get it done. And I hate that. I really hate that, because I genuinely liked Venom, and I was really, really, really hyped for this King in Black event. Like, when it was announced, I was like, oh, here we go, right? And then when we got to issue 3, it just felt like, nah, I'm done. And I don't know. I want to be the guy that's like, King in Black #5 is my pick of the week, but it's not. It's not.
Nope, it's not.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's. I honestly will say that this isn't this book's fault, but it just makes me a lot more hesitant for event books, because and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that event books are much more micromanaged by the editorial staff than a traditional run is. But it just feels like I don't know. It almost feels like the writers are always just writing with a hand tied behind their back. Like they've got to leave enough things open, or leave enough characters open, or enough scenarios open for all the tie-ins. And like some of the tie-ins for this event were really good. Like we had some great tie-ins, but there were some that were also just like, I mean, what did Namor's tie-in have anything to do with this? Like it.
Well, and that's the other thing. We're not getting the the final Namor next week, and it's like nothing. Like Namor. That's the other thing. Namor was in one of these issues. In the first King in Black issue, Namor showed up and talked to the main squad, and then was like, he's never been in the book since. He's never been in the book since.
Yeah,
and I'm not a Namor fan either, but it's frustrating to be like, hey, here's Namor. Okay, so if Namor's here, clearly I need to go pick up the King in Black tie-in for Namor, and then you get 2 issues into that, and you're like, this has nothing to do with the story. Nothing.
I didn't get past the first. I read just the first. All right.
Right.
We're dragging on too long on the sadness of King in Black. Honestly, though, I think it's our hopes got. I think partially we did it to ourselves, right? Like we were thinking like, what's going to happen? Eddie Brock's going to die and he's going to stay dead, and Dylan Brock's going to become the new Venom, or Eddie's going to stay Venom, but Dylan's going to become the new god of the symbiote since he has that connection. Like we went really, really big with it, and while I don't understand why Donny didn't go big with it, because to me Eddie becoming the god of symbiotes now is not big. That was like, oh, that seems kind of obvious.
Right. Yeah.
And unless it's Philip Kennedy Johnson or like Al Ewing, I don't know that I'll be reading the next Venom. I've never been a symbiotes guy anyway. So we've said this before. It was announced that Philip Kennedy Johnson was going to do the next symbiote event beginning in July with the Alpha, and I forget what it's called. It's up on Twitter. But now that what has been revealed in issue 34 with Flash Thompson coming back, that's his center character in that book, is Anti-Venom. And so we'll see. I think there's a good chance that Philip Kennedy Johnson is the writer for the next Venom book. I think they're going to see. I think it's a good chance that he is, to be absolutely honest with you. I just don't know that DC and Marvel are going to allow him to have 4 ongoing titles. I don't know about that.
I don't know, dude. Maybe. Look at Donny, dude. He's got a shit ton of books too, and he's about to start another one after Venom's over. So,
what does he have besides crossover and Thor?
Crossover, Thor, Spawn. He has. Doesn't he have Sweet Tooth? Isn't that his book? No, he's got something else. He's got Redneck. He's got
Redneck's finished though.
Oh, did it finish completely?
Well, it's already been written.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Like, while it hasn't been released, it's all the issues have been written.
I'm sure he's got stuff in the can. I'm just saying. Someone even asked, like, do you feel comfortable writing this many books? He's like, no, I love it. I want more. So I think we're going to be having more books out.
He likes that cash.
No doubt. Anyway, I had high hopes for this book, and I don't want to poop on it, so I'm going to stop talking.
All right. Let's go to a book that is not full of poo-poo, shall we?
American Chavez, number 2. Let's go.
Yeah. Sorry, I messed my shit up again.
Man.
Yeah, I need to get a 3rd monitor is what I need to do.
Oh boy.
I know. How about 10 monitors?
10 monitors.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say right off the bat that this book was awesome and I really enjoyed it.
It was.
So this issue basically we get some flashbacks back and forth between America when she is a kid, like coming of age, 10 years old, something like that, and then Back to the Future just after the events of the first issue where someone tries to burn her family, to set their house and store on fire. So we initially get a flashback start with her punching a boy in school, and then her brother having to like stop and break it up and being like, what's going on? What are you doing?
When I saw that, I was like, I wonder if she has her power. Like when I first read that, I was like, I hope she doesn't have her powers then, because that kid's dead.
Yeah. Well, it's not clear until the middle of the book that she doesn't have her powers yet. And so her brother's like, what's going on here? And she's like, he said that my family tree isn't real, and fuck him. Like, yeah, he totally is real. Yeah. And her brother's like, yeah, I'm sure it's great and totally awesome. Like, let me see it. And it is a big, colorful, flowery tree of her and her two mothers and grandmother from the Utopian Parallel. And so basically she just has, woken up and is like, I can remember some of this. Like, I can remember my mom's. I can remember, memories of growing up in my universe. And then we flash back to the present where she is hanging out with Spider-Man. And while they're chatting, they see some looters try to break into her family's convenience store. And so they have to pow them and wrap them all up and get some funny jokes between her and Spider-Man.
Quick side thing before you keep on going. Genuine Spider-Man writing here, way better than Nick Spencer's. Continue.
Yes, even though it was quick, this is good Spider-Man writing.
I had to make a take, sorry.
Yeah. Then we get a second flashback to the same age, but this time she's in therapy. And the story starts to get a lot more real from here on out. She's talking to the therapist, and she's, basically trying to dig in and see like what it is that, America really thinks about her life and her family, and she's, if she truly believes these fantastical things. And then we see her sitting in a room while the therapist talks to her parents, and she basically says, listen, like, when there's a lot of trauma, kids can create fantasies to help try to make sense of things. Like, obviously, like, there is, do y'all not know what happened before she got to you? And they're like, no, we literally found her on a beach. Like, we don't have any idea what happened to her. And she's like, yeah, well, basically she's making it all up. Like, that none of it's real. She's just had a lot of trauma. And at about time she says that, they turn and look, and America is starting to float up in the air, and she just has this like look of like, fuck yeah, like,
let's
she's
do this.
This is when she gets her powers, basically.
Yeah.
Her powers start to manifest. And then we come back to the present, and America is kind of reuniting with her family again after this event. All of her cousins and her aunt and uncle are all hanging out in an apartment. We kind of get just like a quick introduction to her extended family, until her mom, or her adoptive mom, sort of just like starts lashing out on her and tells her like, listen, like, we told you this when you were young, like, you trying to be a hero is going to get not just you in trouble, and doesn't just put you in danger, but it puts us in danger too. And look what happened, like, you caused this. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh yeah, let me guess, you didn't tell them about the note. The note from the first issue where it basically says like, you need to do a better job watching your family.
Yep.
So in order to avoid an awkward situation, her dad says, hey, will you go down to the store with me and just look and make sure everything's okay? It's at this time that they flash back again to young America stopping some boys. I don't remember what they were doing. There was two boys beating up another boy in an alleyway, and so she flies in and like punches them and makes them go away, but then gets caught by a cop, and the cop's like, your parents know where you're at, and she gets taken back to her house, and this is essentially a flashback to what the mom was just saying, like, listen, when you were young, you used to get in trouble, and we used to tell you, like, you got to quit doing this. You're not a hero. Just be a normal person. You're going to get everyone in bad situation.
Yeah, you're going to put this family in jeopardy.
Exactly. So we flash back to the present, to her being with her dad in the store, and he basically tries to say, like, listen, like, you don't always have to be the hero. You don't always have to be an investigator and looking for crime and trying to figure things out. And she's basically like, shh, yeah, I got it. And then she's like searching the videotapes, like looking at the surveillance cameras, trying to see if she can find any evidence to something that happened. Yeah. And she basically finds like some creepy dude that was just like chilling in the corner for like an hour. And she asked her dad, she's like, you don't remember this guy just like hanging out in the corner? And he's like, nope, don't remember anything about it. And she sees him like very deliberately set something on the counter or like a shelf. And so she goes and picks it up, and it's basically like a token, like a Chuck E. Cheese token or something, to a bowling alley. And she's like, okay, this is pretty obvious. So she heads over to the bowling alley. There's a quick scene where she calls, what's her name? The girl Hawkeye.
Katie?
I can't remember. Yeah,
girl Hawkeye.
Yes. She calls girl Hawkeye, and she's like eating tacos. And at one point, she was like, oh man, these tacos are spicy. And America Chavez is like, horchata always helps.
Yeah, the name of the salsa is called Nuclear Habanero.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I thought that was funny. I like the, because to me this issue is very serious, but I like the comedic humor throughout it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like consequence in flashback, and it's funny because like you're seeing, what she's clearly ignoring, and it's affecting her present, and she doesn't even realize it.
Right. So this issue basically ends with America going to the bowling alley where she finds the coin at, and confronting the hooded figure, because we never see this person's face. They're just wearing a big jacket with the hood up, and you can't it's just all black where their face should be. And they're standing there, and they just take off, and so she chases them, and eventually they start that person like leaps in the air and starts flying, so she like flies after them. They go into like a wooded area. She rounds a corner, and all of a sudden she gets hit by like a big bolt of electricity, and gets knocked out. And the figure says, what is important though is that we're back home. Not that you'll ever remember that's where we are, but you will eventually. Welcome back to the utopian parallel. And so it looks like we're going back to America's original universe in the next issue.
Also on her wrists, or whoever the character is, she has stars on her wrists. So she has, obviously this person has powers. But the other thing, I'm just going to go ahead and speculate here. This is a new character. I think it's probably her sister from... That's all my guess. I'm thinking it's going to be someone that's clearly related to her, and I think it's going to be her sister, which we don't know if she has a sister. But that's what I think is it's clearly a blood relative from that universe, and she's pissed. Either that she's misguided in thinking that Chavez left on her own will, or and that's not clearly the case. But
yeah,
this was almost my pick of the week, like very close.
It was a very good book. So as someone who's very unfamiliar with America Chavez, like we said the first time we reviewed issue number 1, this is really good issue, I think, for helping you understand the character a little bit. But as far as I understand, we're getting a lot of insights into the history of this character for the first time. I don't know that any other previous stories have dived into her past quite like this.
Right.
And I don't know. I enjoy what I'm reading. Like she is an interesting character to me. This double life that she sort of has. She's got some of the influence of a different universe and some of an influence of our universe. Not only is that interesting, but I think that is a really good analogy to like an immigrant story. Someone that has spent their childhood in one country or one area, but then spent a lot of their developing years in a different area, and how they have to find a way to juggle these different identities, and how you're not really one or the other. You get a combination of both. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this series so far. Very glad I picked it up.
I would totally agree with that analysis. And then just one last thing, Gomez on this art, dude.
Yeah,
fantastic. I want to see Gomez on more books. Like,
yes.
No doubt.
Well, and I also I'm unfamiliar with Vasquez writing besides this book, but I am definitely gonna see if there's any more, because even though this is an America Chavez book, we had a little bit of Spider-Man in issue 1 and 2, and absolutely nailed
it.
Like nailed it.
Nailed it. Like there's no
got
bullshit.
His charm, got his humor, got his seriousness. All three of those things within literally probably 3 pages in issue 1 and 3 pages in issue 2.
Yep, totally agree.
So, see, now I just hyped myself up on this book even more. I almost was thinking should have been my pick.
Oh dang! All right, next up, Avengers 44.
I only got this because of the cover.
That's a dope cover,
which we showed off in our haul video. In case you haven't seen it,
go check that out after this live stream. Where to begin? This is going to be a quick one.
Ending? Sorry, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
You're right though. Like, I've been like, no, we got to stick with it. We got to stick with it. And it seems like a lot of the community as well is like, no, I'm just gonna stick. Yeah, just one more issue of Jason Aaron's Avengers run, and then I'm out. And I think this issue may have been the tipping point for a lot of people. I'm still on the train. But that being said, I was frustrated with this because it doesn't make any sense. And it's not even, I am so happy. I'm just going to spoil it now. We're going to jump right into the end of the book.
Nice.
The new Phoenix is Echo. Echo is the new Phoenix. She's a character from Daredevil. She's deaf. She's also
Ronin. She is Native
American.
She's also the Ronin at one point.
Okay, so this character has a lot of responsibility and or just a lot of identifiers, and I'm happy. I'm happy that Echo is it. I originally did say that I thought She-Hulk would be the Phoenix just because I figured that Aaron wanted to get rid of her so that she could have her own ongoing. That didn't happen.
Well,
so
also because they threw it in everyone's face by releasing multiple issues or multiple variants of She-Hulk with like Phoenix imagery behind her, even on books that didn't even tie into Avengers.
Right.
And then, I mean, this was the variant for this week. Like,
yeah.
They did that on purpose,
obviously. And again, I'm not upset that Echo is the Phoenix. Where I'm upset about this book is in her journey to becoming the Phoenix is kick-ass because I think 2 issues previous she died, and I think that's probably that should have been the flag that like that's gonna be the Phoenix, because it's quite literally she gets resurrected to become the Phoenix. But that being said,
thinking it that way,
right? And so that's kind of clever. But that's upon the reader to make those connections and be like, oh yeah, that happened 3 issues ago. Just this felt like it just felt like a waste of time. It felt like a waste of time, and it's not because of who they picked for it, but what Jason Aaron threw in here, like you've got Captain America and T'Challa just like going at it. Oh, I'm going to be the Phoenix. No, I'm going to be the Phoenix. You've got Red Widow, who clearly is a fucked up individual. Like she is scarred quite literally. And then you got Namor, who again is just this piece of shit, arrogant guy who started this whole thing, and then he ends up not even getting it because he's not worthy. Because I guess the only thing for me in this book that has any redeeming qualities is the fact that the Phoenix picks somebody that it seems like really believes is pure of heart and deserves the Phoenix Force. It's almost like the Phoenix Force is turning a new leaf and saying like, no, I need to do this right. I need to pick somebody like in my origins, somebody that truly needed it, right?
Yeah.
And Echo seems like out of everybody in the group, she needs it, right? She's not looking for power. She's looking for balance. And that's almost the polar opposite of what the Phoenix is. So it's a nice yin and yang situation. I think out of this entire thing, the thing that pisses me off the most, or I'm just so confused about, and we kind of talked about this, yesterday, I think, is this whole thing with Thor, right?
Oh my God.
Jason Aaron just throws in, like, we're in the middle of this Phoenix tournament. Who's going to be the new Phoenix? Okay, I'm down. Who is it going to be? Let's ride it. 5 issues. Let's go. And in issue 4, he's like, by the way, hey, Thor, your mother is actually the original Phoenix. And you're like, huh? Where'd that come from? What? What's up, man? Welcome. Sorry, we messed up the stream, comics, and we totally jacked it up. and I had to fix it. But I apologize if you were sitting in the other stream. Anyway, it doesn't make any sense, right? And we and you kind of made this connection, right? So we're gonna jump all the way back to Empire, the Empire event, and there was supposed to be a Thor book in that book, in that event. And in the actual Empire event, Thor is nowhere to be found until the very end of the event, where he shows up learning this Earth magic that he learned from his mother, Gaia, which is supposedly a real thing. Like, that is actual canon.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
For a long time, right? But we never got that book, right? We just got a little snippet of that information in the Empire event, and it was never talked about again. And then this shit happens, where Jason Aaron's like, hey, by the way, hey, Marvel, the Phoenix, the Primal Phoenix, yeah, that's Thor's mom.
Yeah, 3 moms.
So he's got 3 moms now. He's got Gaia, he's got, what's the Asgardian mother? Freya, and now he's got the Phoenix, right? And I have been on the Jason Aaron Avengers run. I've been about it. I know you've slowly digressed off of it. But this is, for me, where I'm like, okay, I get it now. I get why Nate's so frustrated. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe it'll make sense towards the end of the run, but it came out of nowhere. And so it was continued in this book, this idea that the Phoenix was Thor's mom. But in this book, so in the previous issue, Thor's pissed. He's like, there's no fucking way. You're lying. You're not my mother. In this issue, Thor has come to terms with the fact that that's his mother.
Very quickly.
Like, we don't even see that transition. It's like, don't touch my mommy. No. Like, what is going on? Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating, and it's completely distracting to the fact that we have a new Phoenix, and that's Echo, right? For me, that's where I'm frustrated, because I want to celebrate that. Hey, there's a new Phoenix. It's not a mutant. Sweet. Let's get the party started, right? Like, super excited. But no, in this book, I didn't even give a synopsis, because that's how I just want to get straight into analysis, because that's how frustrating it is.
Well, there's also nothing that happens in this issue. It's Captain America and Black Panther punch each other for half the issue. There's like half of a panel of Thor screaming for his mommy, and then pretty much Echo becoming Phoenix.
Now, Echo, the process of Echo becoming the Phoenix, I thought was really cool. Like, the inner dialogue, her dialogue with the Phoenix, with other people, like telling Namor, like that, where when she beats the fuck out of Namor and steals the Phoenix Force out of him, and then she goes, oh, by the way, I stole almost 99.9% of the water out of your body, so if you want to live, you better go jump in the ocean, bitch. And then she flies off, and I was like, that was cool. That's what I was expecting. So the transformation of Echo becoming the Phoenix, kick-ass. First half of this book, could care less about it. And I hate, again, just like I said in King in Black, I don't want to poo-poo on this. I don't I don't want us to be the podcast or the video cast that poo-poos on books. So I'm just gonna put that over there. Like, I'm not, and focus on Echo.
I would say that, it's hard for me too, because I trust Jason Aaron to deliver, and he's really not right now.
And I've told you my theory.
His Thor run was just so damn good.
I'm told you my theory of what's going on.
Yeah, Heroes Reborn is supposed to be part of the event, and they're just like, come on, dude, let's wrap it up.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of it was already made by the time that they were like, man, look at these numbers. I don't know the numbers. Maybe the numbers are still great. But like, it's like Spider-Man, right? The numbers are never going to be bad, even if the book is bad. Like, the book's been bad, but with 26 issues that you're going to review in 1 week, they can't all be winners.
Correct. So we're just going to leave it at that. Right.
Let's go to a book that is... Oh, damn it.
Ooh, you were about to jump. You were about to jump, dude.
Yeah, because I'm not reading this book.
You didn't look at the show order.
I know, I've got my order right here, but...
You were literally about to jump to a book.
I was so excited.
Stop. Wait a minute. So, we've got Immortal Hulk 45. This will be a quick one. But that being said, this was a really good issue. dude, the leader is in complete control now. He is in the driver's seat. He is not going anywhere. He is going to ride this book to the end, I believe. I could be wrong. He might die in the next issue, but he ain't going nowhere, son. I'm not even going to talk about, like, you've got two groups going on here. You've got the down below where Joe Fixit and Puny Hulk are fending off the leader who looks like this giant queen alien from the actual Alien movie, like just terrorizing them. And then you have our other group of the Sasquatch, who is somebody else has taken over that body.
Gamma Flight.
Yeah, it's basically Gamma Flight. And this reporter that's been at the beginning of the book, I forget her name, but she is a gamma mutant. So she can actually see gamma ghosts and gamma, things that aren't there. Mm-hmm. And her experiencing that, she's freaking out. And the Gamma Flight group is like, why are you freaking out? You're still human. She's like, yeah, but when my powers actually manifest, I could blow up. We don't know. Like, anybody that's a gamma mutant can just fucking just lose it in a second. So that's one thing that's going on in this book that I was like, that's kind of creepy and weird and cool at the same time. But the big part of the book that happens in here is in the down below, where Bruce Banner is at the core of the leader's heart. It looks freaking gross. He's like, his eyes got like organs coming out of it. He's all twisted.
Oh,
it's
Jesus.
Bleh, it's freaky. But if you look at the next page, the leader is fucking with Puny Hulk and Joe Fixit. Well, when that fight begins, the leader closes the door. He turns Hulk's door, Demon Hulk, red. He makes it so that he can't leave the door. He can't leave the down below. And so Joe Fixit's like, damn it, like, this is pissing me off. They're fighting. And through the fight, his eyes start turning red. And you're like, whoa, what's this?
What's happening here?
Yeah. So back in the real world, where the new Gamma Flight, the other team, is waiting for Hulk to regenerate because they know it's going to happen. They're like standing around his body, and the Skull's eyes start turning red, and flesh starts coming onto the body. And Joe is like, he goes, I'm a Hulk, and you don't even know. I'm the kind of Hulk you don't want to fuck with. And Joe Fixit turns into the Red Hulk in the down below.
Shit.
Yeah, like, I literally said that when that happened. I was like, oh, shit. And even Hulk is like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he goes, it's complicated, right? So then Hulk's body starts reforming in the real world, and they go through. Red Hulk smashes the door that's red and basically punches it green. Like, go. And he goes through the door with Puny Hulk, and the new Gamma Flight team is like, what the fuck is going on? And the last page is Devil Hulk with red veins glowing like gamma radiation out of his body. That's how the issue ends. And the issue reads at the end, ready or not. So no more Puny Hulk. He is back with a little bit of red inside of him. Now, the one thing I did skip is his wife, Banner's wife, at the beginning of the issue is on a ferry. And she's with a friend. And the friend is like, oh, we're taking in the sights. And she like literally smells the air and she goes, gamma radiation. And she's like, what? And before she turns, she's not there anymore. And I forget her name, but in this book, she's like a siren character that's like a Red Hulk siren. So she's about to enter the fray as well. This was a fun issue. I was not expecting it to be. I was expecting more deposition. I was expecting more like explanation of what the down below was and like what the leader's up to. But no, it was like straight up action. And then when the Red Hulk showed up, I was like, oh, here we go. 45 is going to kick it off. And I think this is where we're going to hit 60 miles an hour and just, we're going. We are not looking back. We're about to hit issue 50 and that'll be the end. And then we'll find out who's writing Hulk next. But it was fun. I was not, not to say that the previous issues were bad. They were just filling in the gaps. And this one was like, all right, fuck the gaps. Let's go. Nice. And again, Alex Ross cover. You can't beat it.
Nope. Certainly cannot.
Now, next up.
Now. I was so excited for Excalibur.
Excalibur number 20. Here we go.
All right. So, as we briefly saw in issue 19, we saw Malice enter the fray. So, at the beginning of this issue, we actually get a little bit of a origin story or like backstory for Malice.
Yep.
Turns out Malice is Alice, who was like a rebellious teenager, you know, basically back in the 80s is what it looks like. But she's a rebellious teenager in London, and she comes home late night, you know, partying or something at a concert, and gets into a fight with her mom. And, you know, they yell about typical mom and daughter, you know, fight stuff.
I hate you, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Silly stuff. But basically, she goes up to her room and was like running up there, and she says, at one point she screams, "I wish I was dead." And she slams the door, and her mom, you know, is just like, "Oh, fucked up. Got to get in there and fix this." And she goes in there, and Alice's body has collapsed on the ground. And so her mom, of course, thinks she's dead. She's just a body on the ground. But it turns out what has actually happened is her mutant powers have manifested. And she has now been able to disincorporate out of her body. And, you know, she's essentially like a ghost floating above her body. And she thinks about trying to get back. And then she says, "You know what? Actually, I think my mom would be happier if I wasn't around, if I was dead." And so she flies out of the window and goes away. And that was like a really heavy start to the issue, because it was just like this girl in a way kind of commits suicide by rejecting her body and her life and just leaving. So then we get brought back to the present time, and Betsy is having a little bit of a welcome back party with the Quiet Council, but also a little bit of a scalding with the Quiet Council, which I actually thought was really frustrating, really unfair, because they basically are like, "Well, since you've been gone, England is really mad that they don't have a Captain Britain around, and Saturnine is not having any communications with us, and Otherworld is really dangerous, and you need to go smooth things over with Saturnine."
Well, it'll never smooth out with Saturnine because she's trying to get some dick, right? And she's never going to get it.
Well, yeah, it's not Betsy.
Sorry.
It's not Betsy's fault that Saturnine's trying to get with her brother.
Yeah.
And that's why she hates her. Yeah, I thought it was just really unfair that they were just like, "Hey, welcome back. You did a great job. Thanks for sacrificing yourself. Like, we're glad you're still alive." But what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, sorry you were dead for a minute.
Why did you let all this fucked up stuff happen while you were gone? But basically, Emma sort of hangs around afterwards, and they sort of have a quick little, like, I don't know, you think that they're being funny, but Betsy realizes that Emma has been possessed by Malice.
Yep. And
Quanon as well, because she is hiding in the bushes off to the side.
Yep.
And basically, while Betsy has Emma distracted, like, throws her psionic knife at her and knocks her out.
Throw it in her neck or something like that?
Exactly. Throws it in her neck. But then in the process, Malice gets stuck within the psionic blade, and they're able to pull her out of Emma, and so now she's just stuck in the psionic blade, and she's like, "Okay, whatever you say."
Yep, sure.
So then they basically ask Professor X and Magneto, and then they're like, "Listen, like, let us try to reason with her. Let's give her a chance. Like, we don't know what she's been through. We don't understand, like, what's going on. Like, we're just now finding out that she's, like, a mutant because she was able to go through the portal or go through the gateway." And so, like, you know, Professor X is basically like, "Well, she still did bad, so we're gonna have to go throw her in that there hole for a while." And,
Sabretooth.
Betsy's like, hold on, man, like you don't know the story at all. Just chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Professor X is just kind of like, well, whatever. Probably still gonna throw in the hole, but do what you want.
Wait, before you keep going, what better two characters to have that perspective, because they have been in that same situation where like someone stole their body and they don't know what the fuck's going on, and the other one's lost everything. Like those two characters are perfect to actually reach out, like, and obviously that was done on purpose. But
well, yes, it was. But I think it's even funnier is in the next 2 pages, Howard makes it very apparent. Betsy's trying on dresses and stuff, trying to think about what they're going to wear to the Hellfire Gala.
Right.
And she's like, none of my clothes fit anymore. And then she's like, why? I don't understand why. And then like Rogue kind of like looks at her and is like, I mean, it's not your body. Like you're in a new body now. And she's like, oh shit, right, I'm in a new body. And that's at the time that Kwannon walks in and is basically like, yeah, I kind of have experience with that. And everyone's kind of like, this is awkward.
This is very awkward.
But then Kwannon and Betsy basically say, listen, we're going to telepathically jump into the blade, and we are going to try to convince Malice to come out and be good, and we're going to make her a body from the 5. We'll make her a husk and let her jump into it, and it'll be good. She can have a second chance.
Yep.
And essentially that's pretty much what happens. There is a little bit of fighting between her and Betsy. Malice kicks Kwannon out, and Betsy and her kind of have a pissing contest, and like Malice was like, you don't know what it's like to be embarrassed and blah blah blah, and Betsy recalls what just happened to her in Ten of Swords and is like, obviously, like, I do know.
Yeah.
And Malice jumps out of the blade and possesses Kwannon. But just as she does, Betsy wakes up. The one thing I did forget to mention is that you can tell that someone is possessed by Malice because they have this necklace on.
Choker.
It always appears like a choker with a skull on it. And that appears on Kwannon, and just as it appears, Betsy uses her psionic blade to cut it off, and so now Malice is trapped in here, and they throw it in the fire, and because Malice basically says, "I just want to die. Like I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want a new husk. I don't want a new body," and they throw her in the fire.
They force a resurrection on her, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They literally that's what I'm saying is so they force her into resurrection. So there's a little bit of an ethical gray area here for sure.
For sure.
Because she dies. Like Malice straight up dies. They kill her. They throw her in the fire. She dies. And then they resurrect her into a new body. And Professor X is there and is basically like, you better be good. And I'm not going to throw you in the hole, but you better be good. And, Betsy and Emma and Kwannon are there. And all 3 of them have sort of taken it upon themselves that they're going to help Alice have a second chance at life. She's back in a body that is hers. She has a second chance to not get thrown in the hole, and it's a good story, but at the same time it's I'm really interested to see how the ethics of all this are going to play out.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a cut and dry, we helped Alice get back into her body and we're great and look how nice we are. It's like, while this person was essentially suicidal again, they killed her to make her live. And it's just, it is the very complicated nature of the X universe right now with Resurrection. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun story. I thought it was a fun retcon of the character. And yeah, it's good.
You going back to that, saying that, like, it's so gray and it's dealing with real world issues. And I think it'll speak to a lot of individuals that that deal with those problems, that deal with suicidal thoughts and deal with just not being listened to, right? Because that's what I took away from the issue a lot too, is like at the end Malice is like, I don't want this, right? And they're just like, no, like, we're gonna help you, no. And I gotta wonder, like, yeah, like I want to see how they deal with that, but also like, you know, at the end of the book, clearly it's Howard retconning characters, playing with it, but also, you know, throwing in this real world problem, something that I think a lot of people deal with, and saying like, this is an issue, like this needs to be more important than just a reminder on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
Right.
And even at the end of the book, like if you at the end of the data page, it says like, if you have somebody or know somebody that's dealing with suicidal thoughts, please call this hotline. And I just think it's clearly a very important issue to Howard. And, you know, she's done this a couple times in her books where it deals with some very real world situations. And, you know, I like to see it. But it also, for me, I think it felt like I was in that person's shoes even more. And you kind of try to understand, like, you're trying to understand what that person's going through. And yes, I read the issue and was like, but why? Right? Like, what is going on? And I think as someone, if you're somebody that isn't dealing with those issues, I think that's on purpose to like you are dealing with this book and still struggling with the fact of why Malice just doesn't want to be alive. And I don't think you'll ever understand. And I think that's on purpose in this book too. Like, I think it's meant for someone that doesn't deal with those issues to be like, well, shit, now I want to know more. You know, like I really want to understand this issue because I just don't get it. And I think Howard did that on purpose. Yeah.
I will say, for as much as I enjoyed this book, I really, really don't want this to be like hey, look, we retconned Malice to Alice and she's a mutant and we'll see you later. Like, I will be very disappointed if Alice is not, at the very least, a reoccurring character in the Excalibur book. If not, it eventually becomes part of the team in some capacity. Because I have felt a very small amount of frustration, not necessarily from the Excalibur book in particular, but just from X books in general that are like throwing so much at us.
Yeah.
And then just leaving it, and it's just like, well, okay, that was cool, and it's like, well, like, why did? It's a great story, but besides just a one-issue story, why did you tell us this? Like, what is Alice going to do? Is she going to be involved, or are we going to have more talks with her? Are we going to see her grow? Are we going to see her change? Like, I don't know. I just
I wouldn't put it past Howard.
I'm afraid we're not going to see Alice again for a while, and that'll make me sad.
I think we will. I think she's going to be important because it feels like Quinnan and Betsy have kind of taken it upon themselves to kind of essentially adopt Alice.
Yeah.
You know, we may not get Quinnan in more Excalibur books because she's got her own book going on. Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of like I kind of want Quinnan in Excalibur because
Quinnan is one of the most popular X-Men, like, or you know, mutant characters. Like, I didn't realize until I was looking at someone did a big analysis of, like, if you take in as many factors as you can, movie appearances, TV appearances, statues, action figures, all this stuff, they put her in the top 5.
Wow.
They put her above Cyclops. I mean, not Cyclops. Above Cyclops in popularity. So I was like, okay, well, all right. I guess it makes sense why she's been in 3 separate featured in 3 separate X books already.
You're right.
Just like Wolverine.
That is Excalibur 20. Next up, we have Marauders, number 19. This will be a quick analysis, but I enjoyed this issue as well. What's the name of the character that you were like, oh, he kind of gets a little bit of redemption? I just can't remember his name.
Mask.
So, in our last issue, our mutants in Madripoor were being set up as, like, evildoers rather than people that are doing good things. And so in this book, we kind of get the revenge of the mutants. You know, their hands are kind of tied behind their back, or at least one is, by the UN. Like, they can't enter into Madripoor. And then we've got the Raiders, or the I forget what they're called. The human mutants.
The Reavers.
Reavers. They're laying waste to Lowtown because they want to build skyscrapers. They want to make Lowtown Hightown and just make it all profitable. And so they're just murdering Lowtown people. And so the Marauders basically figure out a way to get Mask and his crew I forget what they're called, but the original crew from back in the day.
Oh gosh. Go ahead.
That group.
I just had a brain fart too.
They figure out a way to get them into the city and to get rid of these guys because they're lesser known mutants, right? So they don't want to get caught. And so,
oh my god, the Morlocks.
The Morlocks come in and they defend the city. They get rid of the Reavers, and they are, establishing again themselves as mutants for the people rather than just, taking advantage of Madripoor, which kind of they are still, but whatever. They're looking out for the people that are getting shit on in Madripoor, essentially. And I thought the best part about this was when that group gets in, they teleport into the sewers, and Mask is like, "Really? You're gonna make us come through the sewers? Like, are you just trying to stomp on our faces? Like, come on now." But he's a total badass in this book. And they save the day. They save the people of Lowtown. They fend off, the Madripoor elite and the Reavers. And while they're doing that, Bishop and Katie are actually able to, get into the elite's base and stop them from making Reavers and blowing it up and all this jazz. So they're able to kind of still do their work, even though one hand was tied behind their backs. Yeah. And so, the Marauders are basically are still establishing Madripoor as their central hub. And they're figuring out ways to do it more clever so that they don't have to deal with all the bullshit and the politics that the island of Krakoa has to deal with the human world. That's this issue in a nutshell. Really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was gonna, I was kind of like expecting a letdown in this issue. But no, I was pleasantly surprised by this issue, and we had more character development with Mask and everybody else. And it's just got me hyped for the series. I think I still thoroughly enjoy Dugan's run, and I don't know if he's still gonna Duggan. Sorry, I don't know if Duggan's still gonna be on it after he takes over for X-Men in July.
He will. He just lost Cable, so right. Why would he?
Wow.
He can do $2.
I know. I forget that Cable's gonna end, and I don't want it to.
Yeah, I know.
Sad day. Anyway, that's Marauders. I really enjoyed it. I don't know about you, but I thought it was a genuinely good issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the story that they're building here with Madripoor, and I like this sort of like righteous justice sort of a thing that they're doing for helping out, people in need, humans in need. I think that the world right now needs stories of mutants helping people. Mm-hmm. And I like that we're getting more of those stories, because right now most people don't like mutants in the world again.
That's dumb. Yeah. Anyway, that is Marauders number 19. Looking forward to 20. Mm-hmm. Next up, we've got Star Wars High Republic. I think this one's my book as well.
Yes.
But if you need to jump in because I'm not saying something right, be my guest, because this is more your forte than it is mine. But what we get in this is essentially the conclusion of the Jedi that were captured by the evil dark side plant puppets. Drengar. We get a conclusion to that. And I think what's most impressive about this, even though it's a weakness, is, in the previous issue, Skier is corrupted by the plants, right? He has succumbed to the dark side in this plant. And in this issue, we find out that he did it on purpose. Almost. Like he did succumb to them, and he did fall to them, but there was a part of him that was like, kind of, I need to understand this enemy better, so I have to succumb to the dark side. So he willingly gave himself to this plant in order to defeat it. Mm-hmm. And that's what he does in this issue, and he's a total badass in this issue. And I thought for sure he was going to die, and he didn't, and I'm actually really happy about it, because I actually have been very frustrated with the character Skier, and I think issue 4 for me, for this book, is, for me, my favorite issue. Yeah, I think this is where the book starts. To me, this is, Yeah, issue 1 was cool, right? It was good. It was establishing everything. But to me, this is where this book has found its identity, because Skier has now flushed himself out as a full character rather than just a damaged character, even though he's still damaged. Like, he definitely is, and there will be repercussions for him doing what he did. Like, we clearly get that from the head of the Starlight Citadel is going to talk to him later about what the fuck he did. But that being said, like, this issue read like a movie. You had multiple pieces of action going on in different places, whether it was the Citadel or on this planet where they were captured. And then we get really cool backstory / character development with Skier's Padawan, who's now a Jedi. I forget her name.
I do too.
Anyway, she's absolutely crushed that Skier has done this. And she was more crushed at the fact that she may have lost him, but she's more relieved when she finds out that he's actually done this to just survive.
Right.
But overall, I thought that this issue really shined, and I felt like it's better than the previous 3 issues. I'm just going to say it right now. I think this issue has found characters' legs. It's found the story's legs, and when it ended, I was like, "Yep, I want more. I cannot wait for issue 5." Plus, Skier gets his freaking arm back. You know, like, he gets a plant arm.
I don't know if that's gonna stay.
Probably won't. Because then she even said, like, his Padawan was like, "Oh, your arm can grow back. It just takes time." And I was kind of like, "Oh, that's weird. That's a weird thing to say. Like, why don't you just wait?" But he's an impatient motherfucker, and he, may not be really suited to be a Jedi. And I think that's another weakness that we have there.
Yeah.
Good.
I actually got into a Facebook argument with someone about his arms today, because people are like, Tradoshans can, regenerate their limbs. Like, why is he not growing his arm back? And I'm like, have you read issue 4? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, we talk about it a little bit in issue 4, and he's got the plant arm, and like, it seems like maybe that, like, him being infected with the dark side and the Drengar, like, are maybe affecting his, like, natural Trandoshan abilities, and like, there's like something happening here.
Yeah.
And it's not just he's like, nope, they're just throwing canon out and they don't give a shit about precedent, and no one, it's just they don't pay attention to anything. I bet you the guy that's writing this has never read a Star Wars book in his life. And I'm like,
Jesus.
Man, these people are specifically, like, they've been on this project for years. I can guarantee you that he knows Trandoshans can regenerate their arms, man. Like, come on. If you don't want to read the book, don't read the book.
Don't read the book. Exactly. Only be frustrated if you're really, like, I guess, I don't know. It's hard to laugh at that because we just shit on King in Black, but there was just so much hype on that one, and this one, like, it's like, come on, dude, relax.
Yeah.
So I guess we're being a little bit contradictory there, but
I mean, no, because
okay, don't even go there. Okay. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, and then again, we get a Phil Noto cover. Killer, and I'm hoping that we see more Phil Noto. But like I said, I think issue 4 for me, I don't know how to say this because it sounds like it's a dig, but it's not. It's just issue 4 for me is like, yep, I get it now. Like, the first 3 issues were good, but they didn't hook me, and issue 4 has got me hooked. I'm like, yes, I cannot wait for next month for High Republic. Like, this has got some fucking legs. And I think the next issue, no, not the next issue. Issue 6 is the one where it's a Jedi riding a Rancor, and I'm like, yep.
Yeah, it's Avar Chris,
yes, please,
riding the Rancor. I was like, yeah, that's amazing.
That's freaking dope. So, you got anything else to say to this before we move on?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm glad that you're there, because one thing I also talked about on a big Facebook post today was, I do understand how it's taken a little bit longer for certain people to get into High Republic. I think one of the reasons why I've been so into it from the beginning, though, is because I have read the novel. Now, you shouldn't have to read a novel for comic books to be good. Like, a comic should be able to stand on its own. Right. But I think that there is this overall vision that these multiple creators have, and we're about to get into another High Republic book. I think there's this overall vision that we're really starting to come together. You're really starting to see that these guys are actually working together, and all of this stuff is going to fall into line, and it all is going to make sense. So, yeah, I'm glad you liked it, because I thoroughly enjoyed it.
No, it was fun. All right. Speaking of more Star Wars,
Yes.
Star Wars High Republic Adventures number 3.
Yes, number 3. So this book, we're just going to go through it quick because while I did enjoy it, I think it was a little bit too drawn out. Basically, we find out that let me get my note here. We find out that Crix and Zine, so the two characters from the original planet, Crix is the girl with the purple, I don't know, like
tentacle hair,
and then Zine is the white boy that went with the Nile.
What up, white boy?
We basically find out that they have been communicating, sending each other messages through like holo messages, basically.
Okay.
And you know, that we get a few panels of them talking back and forth, like him saying, like, I'm still upset that you betrayed me by not telling me that you could use the Force. And we get some scenes of like her training and sort of just hanging out in general with the young Padawans and the other children that were rescued along with the Jedi. The more interesting part of this book, though, is the behind the scenes that we sort of get into the Gaze Electric. So the Gaze Electric is the name of the ship of Marchion Ro. Marchion Ro is now the head of the Nile. He is the main leader. And
that's the guy with the hurricane in his helmet?
Yes, that is the guy with the storm in his helmet there on the front. Yes, we'll get back to that at the end. But it's really cool. Like, we get this, basically we find out that the ship is, I mean, we're talking huge, like tens of thousands of people can fit on the ship. Like, this is a base ship. This is, huge. So there's like a massive battle, like gladiator pit that basically Zine and his mentor are forced to like ride these things and then chase each other around. It's really bizarre. But it's basically just kind of trying to show that the Nile are just like these base debauchery filled sort of crazy hooligan people that just do wacky shit. Debauchery. And I really think it's supposed to be a juxtaposition of Crix, having fun and being loved and just having all this positive energy with the Jedi, and Zine having all these really terrible things happen to him while he's with the Nile. And they basically say, well, Crix, yes, you are Force sensitive, but you're too old for us to take you on as a Padawan, so like you're gonna have to leave when everyone else leaves. And a lot of the Padawans have become her friend, and they're like, no, like, we don't want her to leave. And that's being juxtaposed beside the Nile finding out that finding out that someone has been communicating with the Jedi through a holo messenger. And literally Zine doesn't even hesitate, and he's like, this is that guy. He points to his mentor. He's like, yep, I saw that motherfucker doing it the whole time. Like, yeah, you better get him, boys. Like, what the hell is this guy doing?
That's funny.
And his master's like, oh, and I forgot this very important detail, but right before this happens, he tells his master, they're trying to find out a secret location where something is hidden, a big weapon, blah blah blah. And he tells his master, he's like, well, or his mentor, you might want to tell me in case they kill you, because like, if they kill you and no one knows, then how else are we going to keep it hidden? And his mentor's like, yeah, that's a good point. It's this thing on this place. And he's like, okay, cool. Oh, by the way, that motherfucker.
Shit.
And so they take him away, and Marchion Ro actually takes Zine to the back and is like, so I know it was you, but like, the ball's on you, kid. Like, that's what's up. Like, damn. And he's like, so basically the way that you're going to make it up to us is by helping us use your friend to get to the Jedi, because they know where we are now because of you, so now you got to make this right. And that's being juxtaposed on the exact same time with Crix, with the Jedi kind of just being like, you can't be with us, and we're not going to train you, but if you help us find the Nile, you can stick around for a little while.
Interesting.
And we get this final panel where you can, see very clearly that they're being juxtaposed about being used against each other. I wouldn't say it was the strongest issue of the 3 so far, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the little bits of lore that are getting dropped in, and just the overall world building that you get for High Republic era.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pick this up?
I did, but I didn't read it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Fine. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm glad that we're getting more insight. I find it really interesting that so far in comics, the biggest introduction and the biggest information that we have about the Nile is coming from the kid book.
Yeah,
which is really interesting.
You had talked about that. Like, there's a debate going on right now that the head of the Nile, what's his name again?
Marcion Rowe.
Marcion Rowe. It's being debated currently if this is technically his first appearance, or if when he does show up in the Marvel book, that'll be his first appearance.
So yeah,
but you're gonna squash that.
Well, yes. So one, I think it's pretty apparent that it doesn't matter, because we're having all of these huge, all of these like Ahsoka books that are blowing up, and all of those characters that are from Mandalorian, their first appearance in comics are all extended universe stuff. That's all Legends. Like, it's not, they haven't appeared in canon yet, canon comic books, and their appearances are going through the roof, thousands of dollars. I think first appearance of Ahsoka 9.8 is like $4,000 or something stupid. Like, just,
and that happened in IDW.
That happened in a Dark Horse book.
Oh, okay, come on now.
Yeah. So the Facebook post I was talking about in the last book is I basically put up a question that was like, is anybody else speculating on High Republic Adventures? Because issue 1 is the first cameo appearance of Marcion Rowe. Issue 2 is the first full appearance of Marcion Rowe, and issue 3 is first cover appearance. And I have not heard a single person talk about this at all. And I put it on Facebook, and the first 4 or 5 responses were people be like, "Shh, dude, shut the fuck up! Like, that's our hidden secret, man. Like, that we're buying all these books super cheap because no one's making, no one's connecting the dots." And I was like,
"Okay,
okay. Well, I'm connecting the dots, and I'm buying some of these books."
Sorry to be Captain Obvious, but shit.
We're not. That's not really the game that we play, but like, I love Star Wars anyway, and so. I think I'm going to start picking up some of the ratio variants for issues 1, 2, and 3, just because they're good covers anyway. They're 1 of 10, so they shouldn't be too pricey. I actually picked up the 1 in 10 and a 9.8 from one of our local comic book shops.
Yeah.
And issue 2 is supposed to be first full appearance, but also it has the character that's nickname is Bags of Blood. It's his, it's a cover of him. So anyway,
I think it's. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you are the speculator type and you are like me and haven't heard anyone saying this is definitely the first cameo, first appearance, cover appearance, issues 1, 2, 3 of Star Wars Adventures. If you're a Star Wars person and you haven't been picking up this book, you see these issues for cover price at your local store, pick them up. There's no reason not to.
That's essentially why I picked up the book. Like, you even told me issue 1, you're like, just go pick it up. I was like, okay. Like, and I find it funny because I told Mark that, one of our coworkers, I was like, you should pick this book up. He's like, nah, man, it's for kids. I was like, who cares? Like, pick it up, because shit is going down in the book. And if you ever decide, like, you know what, I need some extra coin, these issues are gonna fucking sell, so
yeah. And honestly, like, I don't know, I haven't. So there's also the Star Wars Adventures that's taking place between Empire and Return of the Jedi, just where our normal Star Wars book is taking place.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in picking up an issue just to see if it's similar, because Star Wars has that like PG feel anyway, even in the regular books. Like, there's no like people's heads getting hacked off and like blood going everywhere, or
right.
And so, I mean, there's nothing about this book that really would make you think it's a kid's book besides children are the main characters. But like, the first book has more action than any of the first 4 issues of regular High Republic. Like, they all those Padawans drop down on that planet and they fucking flip out the swords and are just like, let's go. We're about to whoop some Nile ass.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you're not picking up this book and you're a Star Wars fan, you need to do it.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
All right. We are done with our Marvel/IDW books, and we finally get to our middle part of our show, which is DC. We got Batman 107. Yeah, we're in the middle. I'm looking at my
an hour and a half.
I'm literally looking at my stack. I'm like, fuck, we gotta go.
Here we go.
This one we're gonna be extensive. I'm sorry, because this is my pick of the week. Pick of the week, DC book. You never thought you'd see it here. Don't tell Evan, my best friend, because he'll fucking kick my ass. Because I used to dog on Batman all the time.
I'm texting him right now.
This is my pick of the week. Quick synopsis. There's a lot of shit going on in this book. We've got something going on in the present. We got something going on in the future, and then we got something going on in the past. And we don't know where that. We don't actually. Well, yeah.
Oh God.
So the book opens with Bruce, aka Batman, has been captured by the Scarecrow, and that's clearly the present. And then I
thought that was the future.
Well, I mean, it's the present.
Depending
Depending on how you look at it. Either way.
Okay.
What did Jaden say? Jaden said, I love that. I got the stream an analyst on mine, so it says, love that they put Barbara back as the Oracle. I agree with you, and I don't even know I don't even have an extensive history on Barbara, but she totally fits.
Yeah.
But anyway, the book opens with Bruce, where he opened up in 106, which he's been captured by the Scarecrow, and he's using all of his mind tricks to like not succumb to the fear serum of the Scarecrow. And so we just get a little bit of a check-in on him there. He's still like tied up in a gimp suit, basically like being fucked with. And then we cut to, I guess, the present or the past, and we're seeing what led up to that. And so Batman is trying to figure out what the Scarecrow is doing. And the most interesting thing here is that the Scarecrow is not technically using his fear serum on people. He's genuinely using scare tactics on the city just after A-Day. So everybody's freaked out. Everybody in Gotham is already freaking out because of A-Day and what happened at Arkham, which was everyone got laugh-gassed there and died. And so he's playing off of that fear. But instead of like continuing the chemical warfare, he's just throwing up regular old scarecrows all over the town, and people are losing their shit. The price for gas masks is flying through the roof because everyone thinks that they're gonna get gassed. So stock prices on gas masks are going up. You've got the mayor, who I believe was kidnapped by the Scarecrow. His desire to police the city without superheroes is being pushed further and further by the Scarecrow. And we also get, that's the main agenda of this book. And then we get little side players and their stories. So Harley Quinn is continuing to be a protege. And I put that in quotation marks because she's really kind of doing her own thing, but Batman's letting her do it. And she's trying really hard to be a good guy. And she's like 85% there, right? Like she just needs that extra percentage to be good. And she kind of loses it sometimes. And we get a really cool back and forth with her and like trying to save somebody, but then she ends up just fucking losing it and beating the shit out of a cop. And so she needs to be saved, and Ghostmaker shows up and is like, hey, you need help? Which I thought was really cool. And then
she's like, what about my bike?
Yeah, what about my bike? And he was like, I'll buy you a new one. So we, my extensive knowledge on Ghostmaker is not good either. And Jacob was like, do I need to get you the trade of that? And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. And then, as Jaden has said, we get a back and forth with Batman and Oracle, and they're just trying to break down and figure out what Scarecrow is up to. What's the end game? And then at the end of the issue, we find out what the end game is, which is he is perpetuating fear into the city of Gotham to push Batman out of the city, so that the idea of the magistrate, which we learned about in the future state, wow, there's a lot going on there, will actually come with fruition. So what we're finding out is that the reason why the magistrate is established is because of Scarecrow. Scarecrow is the determining factor of why the magistrate shows up in the future. And he's technically working. Yep, he's technically working with the guy that had the idea for the magistrate. So that's where this issue ends. Or no, it doesn't end there. There's another group that is starting to pop up. Excuse me. And it's the Unsanity Collective. And so they're, I don't know what to equate them as, because they want to go back to a primal state where there is no insanity and no sanity at the same time. It's just like this perfect Zen moment, I guess you would say.
That's weird.
It is weird. And I think it's going to, it's Tinian again. I've heard this from Jacob, is just constantly dropping these new ideas. And I don't think it's Tinian dropping new ideas to see what sticks. I think he has genuine plans for all of them. But in this one, it was just kind of like sprinkled in about this Unsociety Collective. And the issue ends with a new character showing up, and his name is Match. And you pointed out he looks a lot like Commissioner Gordon. He's got like a Tron jacket suit on. I don't know. I'm excited to see who it is. And I'm just really wrapped up in Tinian's Batman, and I just feel like a complete piece of shit for not reading this, when Tinian really jumped on. I feel, and again, I mean, it happened before we even got into comics, but when I got into comics, I was like, I'm not going to read any Batman. I don't read DC. And now I'm like, I was so dumb. So dumb. So that's my synopsis. My analysis of the book. Holy shit. Jimenez?
Oh, yeah.
You're fucking killing it, bro. Like, the artwork in this book, the covers on this book, holy shit, this is so good. I mean, this is the Daredevil of DC right now. Like, the Daredevil book and its artwork and writing is top notch. The Batman book here, the artwork and the writing on this book is fucking phenomenal. And then we get a Ghostmaker story at the end, which I actually enjoyed. It was out of control, absolutely bonkers, and it just makes me want to know about the character more. And I know that there are seasoned DC reviewer or readers that are probably watching the show right now that are going like, guys, you're so behind.
We're trying
so hard. Jaden says, yeah, I love his art. Dude, Jimenez's art is fucking on point. And the colors in this book, even better. Even better.
So good.
I'm all aboard this train. I'm so glad we started getting into DC. I haven't been disappointed yet, and I hope I don't regret to say that, but I haven't been disappointed yet. I have not. Do you have any thoughts about this book?
All of the above. Honestly, I need to go back and read this book again because I've been working too much, and every day I get home, I open up a book, and I get 2 or 3 books in, and then on the 4th book, I'm like... And unfortunately, this was a 4th book. This is a fall asleep book, and so I was like, "Yeah, man!" I was like, "Man, the pictures of this are really good. They're really good pictures." I read it, but I need to go back and read it again.
Yeah, you do.
In my, and this isn't necessarily like. Some people may say this is a critique, which is totally a valid point, but like, there's so much happening in this issue that like sometimes it can feel a little choppy. Now. We said the same thing about Vita Ayala's New Mutants book. Both of their books that have come out so far on New Mutants have been, it's just like, we got a lot going on. And it can feel kind of choppy at times, but with New Mutants, I'm so much more
in tune with the characters.
That I can follow everything super quick.
Gotcha.
Over here, I'm still not there. I'm not as trained, and so it's a little bit more bumpy for me. But there wasn't any point that I said this is boring. Like, I was like, whoa, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but this is intense. Again, and you're right. Jimenez's art is absolutely
so good. I cannot wait for next month. I'm just gonna throw that out right now. Yes. I know we got Detective coming up, and that one's good too. But yeah. All right, next up. Suicide Squad.
You'll get there eventually.
God dang. We'll be quick on this. Really enjoyed it. We got a little bit more of the aftermath, ongoing and aftermath of A-Day. We've got Peacemaker trying to get Talon out of Arkham, and then we've got Superboy coming in and trying to save the day, and everyone's like, shut up, everybody hates you.
Oh God.
Yeah, dude. Apparently, I mean, I don't know my history of this, but apparently the Superboy clone, everybody hates him. Like, everybody hates him. And so when he shows up, he tries to save everybody, and in doing so, he gets a majority of the squad, characters that clearly are not going to survive the issue. They die in this issue because of him. Because either their gas masks break, or they didn't have a gas mask, or whatever. But, at the end of the day, Peacemaker is able to get Talon out successfully, but he loses a couple of his team members in the process. Mm-hmm. And then we get this, power struggle basically between Peacemaker and Superboy when they get back. And Superboy is trying to establish himself as like the leader of the group, of the squad. Yeah. And Peacemaker's like, nobody gets in my fucking way. Nobody gets in my way, and you won't either. And more appropriately, and I don't know anything about Peacemaker, but what I like about it is he's like, he basically is like, I will bring peace, even if you have to die. There will be peace. Like, it's so contradicting that I love it. Okay. And so he basically does that to Superboy. He's like, look, motherfucker, I'm the captain now. And at one point he sucker punches Superboy in the face. He's like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Boom! And just like beats him up. And then he goes up to the main leader, the lady that puts the chips in their necks, and if you disobey, I'll blow your head up. He fucking goes up to her and is like, basically the same thing. He's like, I don't give a shit who you are. There will be peace. And if I have to kill you, I'll do it too. And he walks out of the room, and she's like, okay.
Okay, buddy.
And so then, they're getting ready for their next mission, and this is where I told you Suicide Squad is going to interweave between Teen Titan Academy. So
yes.
They're getting ready to invade because they're going to try to recruit a Teen Titan into their ranks, which is the Flash, the new Flash kid. I believe they are non-binary, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So they are going to go after. They're going to try to recruit, I think, that character. So that's where the issue ends. They're like, we're going to the Teen Titan Academy, and we're going to go get them. Jaden says, why would a guy who's obsessed with peace be in Suicide Squad? I guess he got on the wrong side of the law, man. Just he wanted too much peace. He was too violent about his peace. Either way, I'm glad I picked this book up because it's just really outrageous, and it's got comedy, it's got action, it's got consequence because people fucking die in every issue. Like, it's like, oh man, I really like this character. Dead. Mm-hmm. And that's just the point of the book, I think. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it, and the artwork's really good in it too. So,
nice.
I think also they put Peacemaker in here obviously because he's going to be in the next movie, and so they want people to get a flavor for it. And I think
is that who John Cena is playing?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's smart. I think it's a smart marketing plan, but it's not. It doesn't feel forced in this book. But I am enjoying this book for sure.
Nice.
So, next up,
is that an ongoing or is that a limited?
I think it's an ongoing.
I think you're right. DC's pretty good about putting like 2 of 6 or whatever up at the top. So
right, yeah. No, I think it's an ongoing.
Nice.
All right. Next up, we got.
All right.
Green Lantern number 1.
Lantern number 1. So
before you start.
Yes.
The only criticism I have about this book is the cover. Everything else is great.
Yeah, it's a weak cover.
Yep. Okay, go.
Okay. Wait, were you talking about Suicide Squad or Green Lantern?
Green Lantern.
Oh, see, they're both. I think both of them. Yeah, I ended up picking up cover A, but I wish I had picked up cover B because it was better. But
I wish I had picked up the 1 in 25.
Well, yeah, the 1 in 25 is nice, but I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna pay
not that quite into Green Lantern yet.
So this is going to be a very rough review.
I think be general. Just be general.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Did you read this book?
Yeah.
Okay. we're very, very new to Green Lantern. Obviously, like I know very little because I've been reading Far Sector as well, which is the next book. But I've never seen any Green Lantern movies. I've never watched any Green Lantern animated series. I don't know.
You don't need to see the Green Lantern movie. Don't.
I understand. I'm just saying. I mean, still, that can help you have a general understanding of these characters.
No.
Yes.
Take it.
Yeah. Yes.
That movie is garbage. Continue.
Okay. So, basically, in this book, we are following mainly John Stewart, but we do get a highlight of a bunch of quintessential Lanterns. John Stewart has a conversation with Hal Jordan for a while. Jessica Cruz, I believe. I think it's her first name. She gets mentioned at one point.
I believe so.
And there's another guy that I just don't remember, but they talk about him as well. But basically, we're having a massive Star Wars Republic style meeting of the minds, meeting of the universe on Oa.
Meeting of the universe.
Yes, meeting of the universe. Where they're basically, I think they're trying to decide if Oa is going to be allowed back into the United Universes Federation.
I think it was called the League of Planets or something like that.
Sure. Yes.
I think
totally. So. That's basically the backdrop of this story.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, this is why I called it the Star Wars Republic, because I mean that looks exactly like from the prequel trilogy.
We will now form the Galactic Empire. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So the subplot of this is around Teen Lantern and how she don't take shit from anyone. What was that?
We got a notification that comics. How do you say the first part?
Entropy Comics.
He just subscribed, so thank you so much for the subscription. We appreciate it.
So I am so off track on this.
But let me help you.
Please.
So the issue actually opened up with there being chaos, right? And they're like, the fuck is going on? And then we cut into the past where Oa is basically being, they're requesting to be part of the League. And we've got all these different planets basically saying yes or no. And there's this overwhelming feeling that the Lanterns can't be trusted. And more importantly, the Guardians, the main figureheads of the Lantern Corps. And so that's really what's holding everyone back from either being yes or no. Like, some people are like, sure, we trust them. Some people say we don't. And outside of that, the League kind of looks at the Lanterns as, the policing of the universe, right? But they don't police the planet, the League of Planets. And so they're really worried that with them coming in, that they're going to take over, the policing duties of the League. And they're trying to establish and say, no, that's not our place. We just want to be a part of you. And, so throughout the issue, they're continuing to vote yes or no. And outside, on the outside, we've got this group of, I have no idea who they are, but you've got this group of essentially magic users. Really, they're not, they use magic, and they're accusing the Guardians of stealing cosmic magic in the use of the Green Lantern, of the willpower of the Lantern. And so they're there to basically stop the Corps from Oa from being part of the League, but also to get that power back. And they create chaos outside of the of the League, and then shit goes awry. And while they're voting, this group decides to fuck with everybody, and it makes the Lanterns look even worse because they're there because of the Lanterns, right?
Right.
And before that shit goes down, one of the votes that go down is Sinestro. I guess where his core is, they've been accepted into the League. Yep. And he has this fucking killer speech about why you can't trust the Guardians, why you can't trust Oa, why you can't trust the Lanterns, because he used to be one. And he talks about his like overcoming of fear and how they've channeled that energy. Thought that was totally badass. But then as that happens, these magic users summon this like magic octopus, I guess, like and it starts destroying the city, and so they fight back. And as they fight back, the monster gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And Stuart realizes that the only way to defeat their magic is to stop fighting altogether. Yeah. They put that connection together because he realizes that they did steal some form of magic, and so it's longing for that. So if they cease their will, cease their action, the monster will go away. And it does. And the wizard or the witch that brings it up is like, this isn't fair, like we need that magic. And he's like, sorry, you lose. And so after all that shit goes down, the League continues their voting, and they are confirmed into the League of Planets, basically. And then one of these magic users is like, no, must finish the job. Fucking shoots a magic arrow, and it hits the original Guardian. Dude fucking fries.
Yeah.
It is a literal corpse of ash at the end of the issue. And that's the big, like, oh fuck moment. Like, they just killed the Guardian. So that's this issue in a nutshell. And me and you talked to Jacob, and Jacob was like, ugh. And I think
he was upset by it.
I think this is another move by DC to get readers like you and me who don't have extensive knowledge of the DC universe. And even though this issue is packed with information, it was relatable, right? Like, you are fucking all about cosmic stories. And that's what Green Lantern is in a nutshell. And go ahead.
I was just going to say that even though I had a hard time describing this book, I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't understand who I know Guardians are kind of in charge of the Lanterns, whatever. I don't know if they're good or bad, or if they're supposed to be good or bad, or if I'm supposed to be upset about it. I'm vaguely familiar with who each Lantern is, but like, just like this massive panel of, tons of aliens and like space fighting and like, I don't know. I was still really interested in it. And I had a good time. Like there's not often that I'll read a book and I'll just be like, what the fuck is happening? That I enjoy myself. I'm like, right. Stories are about understanding. And so like, I all this book made me want to do is like, go figure out like what happened in the last run, so that I can get caught up, because I want to know what's going on, because I want more space shit, and I'm already reading all the space shit in Marvel, so get some DC space shit going.
No, and I totally agree with you. I think this book, for a more seasoned DC reader, they're probably really frustrated with it, and with somebody that is in our position, because I can also see how a novice reader would read this and be like, not interested, next. Right, but I think it's intriguing for us, and it was really good. I also liked, and I didn't talk about this when I started talking about it, the Guardian or the Hawk. I don't know what their race is called, but it's the Hawk.
I don't either.
Whoever that, it wasn't Hawk Girl, but it was somebody from that same race who was a female. How she dealt with the Lanterns and how she was talking to John Stewart, I was like, is she being just straight up like a dick to him because that's what's expected of her, or is she being kind of, is there something there? And I kind of liked that, and I really dig that character. Like, she was a total badass. She was just like, get the fuck out of my way, like, if you're not gonna fight, get out of here. And it was just really cool. So I hope that character continues to be a character in this book, just because I thought it was cool that she kind of broke it down for the Lanterns, like, either get real or get out of the way. I really liked that.
I think they're called Thanagarians.
Thanagarians, there we go. Sorry for all your DC watchers. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
We're learning.
We're learning. You were seeing the learning process here. Either way, I really enjoyed it, and I will be adding Jaden, I know you said you'd be interested to see a video about this. I'm letting you know. I'm adding this to my pull list. I'm all aboard the train. Yeah, I got to do that. So that's Green Lantern. Next up, we've got a more extensive book that you have been very, you've been in it.
Yes.
Far Sector.
Yeah. I'm still very upset that we're only getting one issue every 2 months.
How many is 12? It ends at 12, yes?
It ends at 12, so we're on issue 11. Yeah.
Okay.
So the penultimate issue. We'll get the next and final issue in June.
Wow. That's stupid.
And this book, the writing and the art on this book was finished in, I think Jimison said it was finished in like October of 2020.
Give me a fucking break, bros. Like, let's go.
I don't know. I wonder if there's some event or some conclusion that happens in this that might tie into, because she appears in issue 2 of Green Lantern. So I don't know. Doesn't matter. Basically, we pick up almost exactly like right where we left off with there being a coup. Basically, they're trying to throw a coup. They're trying to this referendum to end the suppression of emotions.
Okay.
They're trying to have a vote to get rid of that, and basically, we've got of the 5 members of the council, we've got 1 dead, we've got 2 that have been deposed, and the 5th most powerful one is just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm in charge now. All you fuckers are just gonna do what I say. And she starts ordering the police to get in the way of voting, and at one point she gets people to sort of just like undermine voters, and like they're scared to vote because they think they're going to get attacked or something. During all this, Joe is with I can never remember the character's name because they're so silly, because they're like Martian of the Tempest by the Sea of 2, and it's
Jesus.
Like, huh?
Yeah.
And then the sentient like computer race that they're all they are is just programs.
Yeah.
All of their names are like at and then some random meme thing. Like it's very complicated to keep track. Like I can see the faces and recognize them, but
gotcha. Yeah.
Anyway, we find out that the main guy that was on the council that has been disposed, he essentially has enough respect from some of the police leaders and military leaders to get them to stand down in certain areas. So even though he's technically walking around in handcuffs this whole time, they're walking him to try to get back to the actual the meeting table where the woman is sort of hidden herself while she's trying to do her coup. And we basically get, and it's really hard to describe without reading the book, but there's basically like a deep philosophical exposition. It does get a little wordy, it does get a little heavy at times, but I think it's really good because Jemison's a good writer. But basically, in a nutshell, what we get here is she's tired of her people being the sentient programming people always getting pushed to the side, always getting being third place essentially, because there's 3 races that live on this planet, and she's just like, yeah, I've got the power and now I'm going to use it. And Joe tries to reason with her and tell her, like, it kind of explained to her like how her oppression is just of others is just, she's basically doing the exact same thing now that what is happening to her people she is now doing to the other 2 races. And it's at this point that the woman, one of the other council members that is still there, has been shot by the AT-AT, and she's like bleeding out, and she's like, so, and they're like, oh, a bomb goes off. They're like, what the fuck is that? And she's like, oh, by the way, I had a fail safe in case this happened, and fuck you, programming bitches. I've got a bunch of bombs set on the servers, and we're just gonna blow you up and wipe you from existence. And Joe is like, what the fuck? This is not what we're doing. This is why you people can't have emotions. Now I understand. Basically the issue ends with her leaving to go and try and find the bombs that are set on the servers. So in case it's not clear, like one of the races, literally they're just programs, right? So they can sometimes inhabit husks of bodies.
Gotcha.
Just to help present themselves to the other two races, because it makes sense. It's really hard to talk to a program.
Right.
But literally their lives, and you get at one point Joe uses her ring to turn herself into a program so that they can chase one of the bad guys in the city of Digital City. So yeah, basically if these bombs go off on these servers, we're talking about the mass genocide of an entire race of peoples, like billions and billions dead. And a lot of these are the lower class citizens of the world. Like they're the ones that do, basically these programs will inhabit bodies to go do dreg work, clean up messes, and janitors, or like work in morgues and all these really bad things. And then at the end of the day, they'll leave the body to go back to their programmed home, essentially. Also, what's hilarious is they get paid in memes.
What?
That's their currency, memes.
What is this book?
Anyway, so it's so hard to review this book because it's been 2 months every time we get a new issue, and two, the philosophy of this book is really deep, and as we get farther into the issues, it gets more and more how's the best way to say it? Convoluted, I guess, or not convoluted, but more and more building on top of previous things that have happened.
Right.
And so, like, the first few issues are super approachable. You can really see the parallels that Jemison is trying to compare to our modern society. But as the story develops, we really do have two things where we're telling a parallel story. Like, there's clearly a parallel that you could draw to these programmed peoples and minorities in America. Like, you can obviously see that. But she's also telling a story about, like, these weird programmed races and these other weird emotionless people that are starting to get emotions and just starting to fuck shit up.
So basically what you're saying is I need to read this in a trade when it comes out.
Yes. So this has been announced to get I don't know if it's oversized, but this is going to get a hardcover in October.
Ooh, yeah.
It's supposed to come out, Last God comes out in August. This comes out in October. So
yeah, I will be getting both of those. I will be getting Glass God, and I will be getting Far Sector to completely enjoy, because I want to read this. I would hate to be in your position, what you're saying right now, which is you get an issue, then 2 months later you get another one. Like, I would fucking hate that.
Yes. So when I get issue 12 in June, I am not going to read 12 until I read 1 through 11 again. I'm going to read 1 through 11 and then get 12. I'm not going to give 12 I'm going to give it the energy it deserves to make sure I know fully what's going on.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. Cool. All right, next up, we got Crime Syndicate number 2. We'll be really quick on this, but again, I said it once and I'll say it again. DC's approach to this book, I think, is for us novice readers of DC, and anyone that is historied or has seasoned reading on DC, they absolutely despise this book, and I'm like, this is dope. So we left off with Ultraman and basically the rest of the Crime Syndicate. You know, in this issue, or in this book, they don't know each other yet. Like, they're being reset. So the entirety of the Crime Syndicate, outside of Superwoman and Owlman, or the Owl, have not been possessed by the Starros invading from space. And what we find out in this issue, we get Superwoman and Ultraman, like, going all out and just fighting, and she's fighting just because she likes it. She's not fighting it because, like, she needs to save Ultraman. And that's the thing, is, like, every one of these characters are just self-centered and and they don't care about anybody. And the best part about this book is when they're fighting. At one point, Ultraman has got Superwoman in a headlock, and she's like, and she flies. They just fly up, and she flies into space, and they crash into the International Space Station, like leaving a giant hole. And the astronauts are in there going like, and then the next panel they're floating out in space, dead, like because they destroyed the station, and they're not like sorry or tried to save them. They're like, now we're still fighting. And so Jade says, I love the crime syndicate. It's so good. Yeah, it is fucking nuts. Anyway, midway through the book, basically it's looking like Superwoman is not going to be able to defeat the Starros. And then we find out that the Starros are invading because they're trying to amass a giant army of metahumans to fight off their great enemy. And what we find out the great enemy is John Stewart and his Green Lantern. And John Stewart is actually in this universe. It's an alternate version of him. And the Green Lantern, like I told you in the first issue, is consistently like shitting on John Stewart. Like, you're not worthy of this ring. You're a piece of shit. You're not a good superhero, blah, blah, blah. And so that's what we find out. And the other person that finds out this is Owlman, who is actually Bruce Wayne's brother.
Okay.
And so he comes to save the day and realizes that the Green Lanterns are the enemy of the Starros, so we need to use the Lanterns to defend this invasion of Starros. So that's where this issue ends. It was really cool. Thought the action was great. I really didn't mind the artwork. I know some people didn't like the artwork. They felt like it was rushed. I thought it was great. Or not great. It was good. And then we get a 3 or 4 page story of the origins of Owlman. And like I said, it's Bruce Wayne's brother. So in this version of reality, the Waynes, the mom and dad, actually murdered the family or the siblings of a very prominent crime syndicate. So that's why they got murdered. And they were murdered, and Bruce was murdered, but they had a son who was Bruce's brother. And so he upheld this code of like what Batman does, which is he doesn't kill, and so he's crime fighting. And he runs into this guy that was part of the syndicate, and he tells him the story of the fact that his parents actually deserved to basically be killed because they were killing other crime syndicate families. And so Owlman comes to this realization at the end of the story where he's like, oh, well, if that's the case, and the guy's like, he's holding the guy over like a skyscraper, and the guy's like, you have your code, remember? Like, you don't kill. And he goes, yeah, that doesn't matter anymore because of what you told me. Boop, and just drops the dude.
Damn.
And he's like, that's how I'm going to be now. I'm just going to kill people. I'm going to be the crime fighter, but I'm going to kill you. And I was like, damn, dude, that's insane. Like, that's intense. So that's this issue in a nutshell. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad, it's a mini series. It only lasts 6 issues, but I'm really digging it. Like, I think it's really cool. And again, I think it's made for the novice DC reader. It's not made for, I don't think it's made for the reader that knows a lot about the crime syndicate, because it's rushing through a lot of things. And if there's something that you like about the crime syndicate and it's not showing up in this book, you're like, what the fuck? And I get that. But I like it. I'm really glad I'm picking it up.
Nice.
This is really fun. So
Cool.
Next up, we got Swamp Thing number 2. Jacob decided to shove this in our face, and fuck, we like it.
Yeah, I'm glad he did. So we didn't. Well, I don't think we reviewed issue 1.
We did not. But
So
I think you
basically,
can touch on it for sure.
I'm just gonna hit very quickly on this, even though I very much enjoyed the book. Basically, Swamp Thing's got a new host. This is Levi. He is recently coming back from a trip to India where he goes to see his dad on his deathbed. His dad dies, and then he goes out into the boggy, muggy area with his brother, the jungle, and his brother does something, but we're not exactly sure what he does. But that somehow has made Levi the new host of Man Thing. Or, excuse me, Swamp Thing. Same thing, right?
Swamp Thing, Man Thing, they're all the same thing, yeah.
Same thing. So basically, this the first issue has Levi showing up in the desert to where, and very quickly confronting a different sort of odd character, which is a man who moved out to the woods in the 1800s or moved out to the desert to live off the land, and he like never died, and he drinks gasoline, or I don't. It's
he just like evolved and continued to consume toxic waste and shit.
Yeah, he's like this toxic, goopy guy.
But lanky and skinny at the same time.
Yeah, he's gross. So this issue starts out with Levi's. I don't know if that's his girlfriend or his wife. I don't remember if it's
I think it's his girlfriend.
It's basically like, so what happened to you? Like, what's going on? Like, it wasn't just your dad died. Like, what's going on? And he basically kind of tries to explain it to her like it's a nightmare, because even he's still not 100% sure if this is happening.
Right, he doesn't get it either.
He's saying like, I'm having this nightmare where I'm in the desert in Arizona, but I'm not really me. He doesn't really tell her what exactly what he is.
I mean, when your consciousness gets sucked out of you from a dream into like a completely another part of the country, I wouldn't know how to describe that either. Even though I just did.
Well, there you go. And so basically what is happening is when he goes to sleep at night, he keeps getting sucked back to this desert in Arizona. And he is witnessing this guy kill people out there in the desert. And we also have this parallel story of a sheriff and a deputy who, the deputy's name is Everett, which is the name of the original host of the Swamp Thing. I don't know if that's just supposed to be a homage or if that's supposed to be Everett. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Again, new readers to Swamp Thing, but there's a parallel story of them finding a body out there, finding bodies out there, and the sheriff is starting to think that this, local lore about this goopy guy that lives out there might actually be real. And then in the first issue, he gets a glimpse of him.
He almost dies to him. Like he almost gets eaten by him.
Yeah, and he gets away. But the two are sitting in a bar drinking, and he's kind of talking about it. And Everett's like, it's probably not what happened to you. It's probably nothing. But then the sheriff's like, nope, totally him, 100%. Got to go out. Got to go kill him. Can't let this happen. He's gonna keep killing all our people.
Gotta do it.
So basically, he goes out to the desert, and about the same time that Levi arrives out to the desert as well. And we have a little bit of a showdown between the flame toxic guy and the sheriff.
I think his name is the Pale Wanderer. Pale Wanderer.
Pale Wanderer.
There you go.
So we get ourselves a nice fight between the Pale Wanderer and Swamp Thing. At one point, Swamp Thing becomes impaled by. I actually was very confused at what that was. Like it looked like it was just like a piece of. I guess it was just like a piece of burning wood, but it was like, I guess, plants. He's on fire, and he was like, "Don't do this." But then he, Levi or Swamp Thing, essentially like grabs him and starts growing through him.
Yeah, and
literally grows branches out of his arms and his eyes and his mouth. Very body horror-esque art here, and all of a sudden plops up a huge, massive tree in the middle of the desert, like unfathomable sized tree, like huge tree.
It does not belong there.
The desert. No, middle of the Arizona desert. And the sheriff's like, "My God, what is happening?
What is going on here?"
He wakes up. Levi wakes up in Brooklyn and is super cheery and
cheery,
happy-go-lucky. And in the background, they can see the TV of the news cameras. Being like, "What the fuck is this tree that just popped up in the middle of the desert?" And then it finally ends with Batman.
Yeah, this is weird.
Footage. It's like Batman, but you're looking at him from behind, and you can see his cowl has been pulled back off of his face. But at the bottom, it says "The Batcave, Gotham."
Yeah.
But it doesn't say anything about him. It's just him watching the news. So I guess
put Batman on the case. Yeah.
Batman's going to be involved in some way. So the good thing, this book is, again, for new readers, you don't really need to know who Levi is or what. Right. I'm sure knowing the history of the Swamp Thing would definitely build on this, but like, I think Ron V is doing a really good job of setting up an interesting story. We're getting some nice, cool body horror art from Perkins, and I think we get just enough. Or for me, I'm getting just enough of the story to progress to like be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what does this mean? Like, and again, when I say I don't know anything about Swamp Thing, I mean I don't know a good goddamn about Swamp Thing.
Yep.
And so, like, it's just normal. Like, someone tell us if you know. Like, is this normal? Is this how Swamp Thing manifests? He can just pop out of any living tree or plant in the world.
No idea.
And like, he can just travel that way. Is it normal for the person that's the Swamp Thing to have a human body during the day and be the Swamp Thing at night?
I don't think so. And I'll tell you, I don't think so. And I get. This is I wouldn't say criticism, I just see a lot of parallels. And I could be wrong. We could go to the shop and Jacob will be like, yeah, no, he only manifests at night. And that might be the case. So maybe it's someone else is stealing that idea. But I get strong Immortal Hulk vibes in this book. Like, it totally reminds me of Immortal Hulk. Like, the social issues, the psychological issues, the body horror. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it just reminds me of Immortal Hulk, like Ewing's Immortal Hulk all day.
Yeah. Yep.
Dope.
Also, this cover A is kind of weak, so I didn't pick that up. I think you picked up cover B with me.
Yes, I did. Cover B is they just
very hard to see in this camera because it's so dark, but
yeah. I've got cover B for both 1 and 2. I think I'm just going to keep that train going.
Yep.
So that's Swamp Thing number 2.
My sub because I have not done that yet.
Yeah, I do too. So that is Swamp Thing number 2. Next up, we are in our independence. We're at the ladder. We are the back end of our show now, guys. Here we go. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get through it, guys. Thanks for sticking around, whoever's here. We appreciate it. If you're watching this as a past episode, you can do it. We're gonna keep going. So we've got from Bad Idea, ENIAC number 2.
Yes, this was almost my pick of the week.
Same.
Very close to it.
Yep.
So we've got our 2 main characters on the hunt for a doctor that may, or not doctor, but like a smart person, scientist guy that may have a virus that can kill ENIAC.
Kill ENIAC.
And so we basically are following them on. Oh my!
Bark.
Sorry.
Do you mean to take over?
At my door. So
okay, here I'll take care of it. So you have ENIAC number 2. So we have our 2 main characters who are basically they've been sent on a mission to destroy ENIAC, but they can't use any electronics. So they're on the hunt for someone, a scientist or a programmer scientist. He's like kind of a mix of both. He may have the key or a program virus to kill ENIAC. So they're on their way to do that. And in issue 1, ENIAC basically had already figured them out, has already figured out what they're going to do. So on every turn, our characters think they have the upper hand, and ENIAC's like, no, I know your moves. I'm coming after you. I predicted this, 5 years ago. And that's what we get in this book. They go and try to find the scientist. They find him, and they get the history behind the scientist and what, how he came to be. And the entire time he's telling them about his history, he's continuously reminding these girls, these ladies, that it's futile what you're doing. ENIAC is going to kill you. ENIAC will win. You're not going to win. This is futile. And as they're doing this, things are just going awry around them, and they realize that they don't have their perception of what's going on is so blatantly out of their control, and they're starting to realize it as they go. So while this guy is telling them about their, his experience, we get a little history lesson with this guy and the guy that originally created ENIAC. They go on like a suicide mission, so we get like a jump into the past. of what they did, and they're trying to find ENIAC, and ENIAC has set up basically a base in Russia in a city that's like Chernobyl but not quite like Chernobyl, but it's been completely evacuated. There's nobody living there, and basically what happens is they find out that ENIAC has been recruiting and or brainwashing Russian women into his collective, essentially, and to keep him safe. And so they come across this group and they find ENIAC, and they go meet ENIAC, and he's a giant supercomputer now, and he's a big floating, like, by wires hanging.
Oh yeah.
And he's
that
like,
was a cool.
When he shows up, ENIAC's like, I forget the name of the character, but it's more like, "Hello, John. I have been waiting for you." And the guy's like, "Fuck, we were gonna try to kill you." And he's like, "Nope, I saw this coming from a mile away. I've known for years." And so they leave. They basically, no. The only reason why they're able to leave and that they don't kill ENIAC is ENIAC has set up nuclear bombs at the White House, in Moscow, in all the most important capitals. And he's like, "If you leave now and don't try to kill me, I won't blow everybody up." And so they're like, "Okay."
Okay.
So they dip out, right? And so the government, is like, "Why didn't you complete your mission? We need to kill you." But they know if they kill him that, they legally can't kill him. And so they keep him alive, and then they actually, kill him at the dead of night. So they kill that guy, but they leave the other scientist alive because he still has access to this virus that could kill ENIAC. And so that's where we cut back to the group, getting this story. And as they're talking, they hear something out in their little cabin that they're in, and there's a helicopter raining hellfire down on them. And I didn't understand that part. It was like, are those humans, or is that ENIAC controlling a helicopter?
I think it's ENIAC controlling the helicopter.
Okay, so the ENIAC sticks a helicopter on him, starts shooting missiles and raining down gunfire on him. The computer ends up ENIAC ends up killing the guy that has the virus. But before he dies, like the two ladies are like, "Shit, he's dead. We need to figure out the code of this virus." And he's like, "It's in my scarf." And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "I weaved the code of the virus in my scarf so that ENIAC could never get a hold of it, because he only deals with technology. He doesn't deal with like physical, like cloth,
analog things,
objects." And I was like, when I read that, I was like, "Oh shit, that's dope." And so that's where the issue ends. The issue ends with them trying to figure out how they're going to get this analog virus out of the scarf and into ENIAC. So pretty epic issue. I really enjoyed it. Artwork on point. And Jaden says, "Awesome cover." Yeah, the cover is fucking sick. These books are like, the material and the way the cover is made, it's fantastic. And I know that some people didn't get their issues of ENIAC #2 because of a distribution error. So if you haven't read it yet, just sit tight, get it. It's worth the wait. Bad Idea is onto something here. These stories are really fun, and it's just good. And now my dogs are barking. What is going on?
So must be a full moon out there,
I guess. Anyway, did you want to say anything else about this book, or?
No, I think you covered it all.
Okay, so that's ENIAC #2. Go pick up ENIAC. Go pick up Bad Idea Comics. It's a good idea. I'm gonna go shut my dogs up. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll go ahead and get into Tankers.
All
right, Tankers #1. Which, by the way, if we're talking about cool covers, this one's pretty cool. But the back cover, totally cool. Just looks like an awesome, like skater, kind of like you'd see on a skater shirt or something. I don't know. Anyway, so the basic premise of Tankers is we're running out of oil, running out of gas, running out of fossil fuels. Who would have guessed? Basically, they Greenleaf Oil, which is the main oil manufacturer, says we're running out of oil. We got to figure out a way to fix it. And they're having a big meeting at a big table, and they're like, yeah. So one thing that created all the oil was dinosaurs, right? And there was this big comet that came and smacked into the earth and killed all the dinosaurs. What if we went back in time and diverted that comet away from the earth, and it wouldn't come back for another 50 million years? That way we would have 50 million more years of dinosaurs worth of fossil fuels on the ground. Huh? And everyone's like, yeah, time travel, bud. That'd be great. Like,
Good
yeah,
idea.
let's get on the research. And the guy's like, actually, we've already done it, so it's gonna happen. And everyone's just like, okay, sounds good.
You know that Will Smith meme where he's like this? Have you seen that?
No.
Okay, well, anyone that has seen it, he's like, it's like a picture of him, and he's like, wow, and then someone puts like whatever the thing is. So like when they pop that dinosaur on, that's what I saw. Is like Will Smith going, dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yeah, that joke would have connected if you knew it. But anyway.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll show it to you later.
Okay. I'm not cool. I'm in hip. I don't know all the memes. So that's basically the premise, is that they're going to go back in time and divert this comet away from the Earth, thus allowing dinosaurs to be around longer and die more, and so we can make more fossil fuels.
Because, messing with time is always a good idea.
Totally. Yeah, totally makes sense. But of course, they can't just go back in the past and not do anything, and not protect themselves. So they've got to have these massive tankers there. So we drop in on a training mission of, I can't remember how many there are. Six.
I think there's 6.
Yeah, 6 different tankers. Basically training on, massacring dinosaurs so that they can create a perimeter when they get to the past. Mm-hmm. And then we have a quick little scene with the original old man gas owner guy saying like, all right, well, when you get back and you're successful, like, you can have anything in the world that you want, anything. And one guy's like, wow, the cowboy, of course, the guy from Texas, was like, I want 1,000 head of longhorn and 10,000 acres of Texas with oil rights. It's like,
because that's what we sound like in Texas.
Great, totally. And one guy's like, what is it? He's like, the next time we drop a nuke, I want to push the button.
God.
It's like, and honestly, like this happens to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 7 of them.
7.
And most of these are like cop-outs. Like to me, it's written really poorly. It's like, the one of them's like, I just want to be known as a true tanker. And he's like, okay.
I think that's on purpose, just because it's really not about. We'll get there, but I just feel like it's not really about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just keep going. So basically, they go through the time portal, they go back, and then also, so like the art on this is really interesting. At some points, I think it's kind of weak, but at some points, like this panel right here, can be fucking dope. Like this massive 2-page spread is really, really good. And it's all serene. It's nice and green. You got little bird dinosaurs flying. And then the next page, it's like, and it's like fucking the dinosaurs up. Heads getting chopped off and driven to the ground. You've got, at one point, T-Rex bites down on one of the tankers. And the guy's like, activate chainsaw arm. And then he like cuts him in half, and his fucking brains are all coming out.
Eyeballs flying everywhere.
Like, it's basically just like gore porn for like 7 pages.
Pretty much.
Just fucking up dinosaurs left and right.
Yeah. Shit in every page, basically.
Yeah. Here's the panel of, I don't even know if I can show this. It's
pretty
ridiculous.
Bad. Don't worry, I've got the stream set for not for kids.
Okay, great. Comics, not for kids.
Not for kids.
So basically, they kill a bunch of dinosaurs, and then they set up the perimeter, and everyone's like, "Yeah, good job!" And they all take like heads of different dinosaurs that they kill, and they're like they plan on taking them back home. And the guy's like, "I'm gonna mount my Triceratops in my house in Texas," and whatever.
It gets weird, yeah, for sure.
And so they set up a perimeter, and they get this big giant cannon going, and the comet comes, and they shoot it, and it fucking flies the other way, and they're like, "Great, this is awesome. We did it. We're successful." And so they climb back in their tankers and go back through the portal again. It's time to go home. Except they don't go home.
Well, they do. It's just not home anymore.
Don't. Right. Well, so they go back, and it's like not. It's supposed to be the Texas-Mexico border, and they're like, "Yeah, none of these plants are even native to North America at all." And the guy's like, "Oh shit! Like I forgot to calculate for Earth, the delta of Earth's rotation and orbit, and now the comet missed its original terrestrial impact." And they're like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, actually." This fucking dinosaur just like stabs him through the chest and proceeds to eat him. And then all of these like mega crazy looking dinosaurs that you've never seen before, they almost look like dragons and shit, just start emerging out. And that's the end of this book.
Book is Knucking Futz.
So yes, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but I just think the idea is just so fucking crazy. Almost like this was probably like the first #1 that was supposed to be from Bad Ideas, but it was just so like radical and like heavy metal and dinosaurs and guts and they were like, maybe we need to do ENIAC first, and then we'll do Tankers, because Tankers was just like, it's just out of control. It's an adrenaline rush out of controlness. But what I'll say is, halfway through the book, like when they were killing the dinosaurs, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to end well. Like, how did not anyone think that they're going to go back and everything's going to be fine? Like, okay, yeah, we'll let the dinosaurs live another 1,000,000 years or 100 million years.
50,
well, then you're like, if anything, that means humans won't be coming around for another X, you know what I mean? And so that was what I was thinking throughout the entire book. I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. But that's what this book is. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I thought of it a little bit differently. Like, when I first heard the premise of this, I was like, I thought it was going to be like more of the journey, like we're going to get multiple books of them being in the past. Like,
oh, okay.
I didn't realize it was just like a canon thing. I thought it was like, there's a portal, we go to the past, we kill a bunch of dinosaurs, then we come back through, and then people are like, oh, where did you kill them at? Oh, Yucatan in Mexico. Yep. Well, yeah, now there's more oil there. And then it was just like a back and forth. Once I found out where we were at, I was like, oh, yeah, like, this is so obvious where this is going.
Well,
and the original crazy premise actually seemed kind of cliche and kind of like,
I think that's on purpose. I'll be honest with you, and I think there's going to be more to it. I think when we get into issue 2 and 3, we're going to be like, oh, like, I think there'll be more of a. At least I'm being hopeful that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't bail on books easily, and so I will probably pick up issue 2.
Well, don't you have to?
So I don't think so. I was looking at the way that. So I don't know. The way we got charged with ENIAC was we paid for all the issues up front. That's not what happened with Tankers. So
interesting.
I wonder if that got dropped.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe. I just right now I'm feeling a little iffy on this one.
Iffy on this one.
When I have a week where there's 26 books,
right?
I can drop this one. So
I gotcha. I enjoyed it, but I think it's worth a pickup. If you're into just absolute craziness, just like the entire premise of this book, the artwork, the cover is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a crazy book. So if you're in for just like a silly goose time, this is the book for you.
Yeah.
All right, next up, 7 Secrets. Right off the bat, I don't know what the fuck happened to this book. I don't get it.
What? I don't know what there isn't to get.
I don't get it.
Okay. So we're finally picking up after a few months off on Seven Secrets.
Maybe that's the reason why I don't get it. It's so far removed from what happened, but
maybe. So this was almost my pick of the week too. Man, so close, so close to being my pick of the week. Basically, where we left off in issue 6 was whatever the baddies are. They figure out the hiding spot. They come in, they bum rush everyone. But like, we're taking those fucking secrets. Everyone's running. They're in Switzerland, and they're like, fuck, how are we gonna get away? And then one of the guys is like, I'm gonna use my secret, and he opens a secret, and they go into a portal, and it closes behind them, so they get away.
Right.
So this is them inside the portal, and then actually in issue 6, inside the portal, what's the main guy's name? Casper just sort of like, I'm gonna wander over. The guy's like, hey, don't wander anywhere, and the guy's like, yeah, okay, got it.
Bye.
He wanders off, of course, like a dummy. So this book picks up exactly there. Casper's mom and the keeper of the secret that has the portal secret are looking for Casper, and they're like, yo, where the fuck are you? And these two fairy people are following Casper, and they're like, can you believe he's here? Can you believe he's back? Like, what's going on? Like, let's follow him. Let's watch what he does. And Casper's just kind of tripping balls in this weird,
rightfully so,
different plane of existence.
Yeah.
He sees, he's basically lost in like blackness, and then he sees this island of color, and is like, well, that's where I'll go. And he starts walking, but then he's like, wait, an island? That means there must be water. Oh shit. And then he like drops into the water, and he's like swimming through the stars, but it's also like water. And the fairies are just walking on top of the water behind him, following him. And he realizes that as he swims closer and closer to the island, well, it actually gets further and further away the more he swims. And eventually he runs out of steam. He has no more energy, and he just starts to sink. And as he does, a white horse with a fish butt is like,
Tail.
hey, butt.
okay.
God. Just let me say butt. Just let me get butt.
All right. Shit.
He basically is like, hey, you know you can't breathe down here, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get on. Let's get you out of the water, man.
Oh, God.
What?
I just, like, as you're talking about this, it's just reaffirming of, like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so
I know that's the point. I know that's kind of the point, but
so yeah, I'll go back and show this because it's so fucking good.
It's a trippy. This is a trippy issue.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. Is we're in this realm that we just don't understand. Like we're not on Earth. We're just in this place that we don't understand.
In a realm of existence that is just not comprehensible to men.
Yes. So the horse fish butt drops him off on land, and the fairies finally catch up with him and are like, yo, Casper, like, what's up, man? Like, long time no see. And he's like, I'll fight you guys. You're not going to take my secret. And they're like, yeah, we don't want to take your secret. Like, don't you remember us? And they're like, he's like, oh, I think I know this place. And they're like, well, of course you do. Like, this is where you grew up. And then we get a flashback 15 years ago when Casper gets dropped off to these fairies and basically says, he has to be in hiding and no one can know where he is. Like, I need you guys to raise him here for the next 9 years or however long until we can come back and get him. And so we get some flashback scenes of Casper growing up in this weird fairy world. He fights a guy that's pretty much King Arthur and beats him, and a sword battle. And after these little flashbacks, it kind of comes back to reality. And for some reason, these fairies are trying to trick him into falling off a cliff.
Yeah, that's where. What's that about?
We'll finish.
Okay, I didn't get that part.
I think they're just trying to make him stay in some way, whether that means he gets hurt and he can't leave or something.
Okay.
It's unclear, and I think it's intentionally unclear.
Okay.
And his mom basically comes running up, stops him from falling. She starts shooting arrows at him. They kind of fight for a little bit, and then Casper's like, "Stop! Like, well, what the heck? Y'all chill out!" Like, he's like, "Yeah, like I remember you guys now. Like, I'm starting to remember. Like, I appreciate what you guys did for me. I appreciate you raising me, but like, I've got big world shit that I have to go do back in my normal world.
Yeah.
And I can't hang out and play Fairyland with you guys. I apologize, but like, I really do like you guys, and I appreciate what you did for me." And they're like, "Fucking all right, fine. Well, here's your sword." And he's like, "Wow, I forgot about this sword. Fucking badass. I got a sword. Cool." And then they essentially just meet up with the rest of the group, and they're about to cross back into reality.
Yeah.
Now, the story is trippy. The story is weird, but essentially, we learn a little bit of backstory about Caspar. Like, we learned where he was at when he was a kid. He was in this fairy world that they essentially use as like a hideaway. A lot of the characters, when they first drop Caspar off when he's a baby, like, they interact with these fairies like they know them very well. I'm sure that we are going to see more of this, fairy world in future books.
Probably.
And I am very excited for it. So while I did think the story was, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the flippant sort of grandiose, or I don't know, just oddball, bizarre humor to it all.
Mm-hmm.
The art, to me, especially the coloring, was absolutely out of this world. The first few pages are very dark, but with really vibrant, minimal color. I mean,
yeah,
like him swimming through the stars, like, it's so good. And then it's the horse comes and gets him, but it's still very, very black, very, very dark. And then he gets into the fairy world, and it's just like,
very
it almost
vibrant.
hurt my eyes with color. Like, I was just like, whoa, like, this is really intense.
Yeah.
And all of it is just, it's way more vibrant than previous issues of the book.
Right.
And I was mesmerized. I was just reading this book, and I was like, man, this art is fucking killer. Which, for me, I think doubles down on how good this book is, because I was really, when we previewed this issue, like, a month before it came out, we did a little sneak preview of this book. I was like, the story's great, but I'm not a fan of the art. It's too anime for me. And I've totally come around on that. Totally come around on that.
Yeah, I like I said, I just was really confused with this issue. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I was just like, I don't know what's going on. And I know we'll get more clarity as it goes, and that's, this is one of the secrets, right? So that you're not supposed to know everything that's going on.
Yeah, you're not supposed to understand. And I think this was a really interesting way to do a few things in one issue. I think we're obviously bridging between arcs right here. I think this is just like a solo issue between 1 through 6 and 8 through whatever. But also it shows you like them utilizing a secret, right? Like, this is a tool they have in their arsenal now. It's this ability to sort of jump into the fairy world in one part of Earth, and then jump out of the fairy world in another part of Earth.
Right.
But also, we got some backstory into Caspar. We get to see a little bit about his history and about how he's unique compared to the other members.
How he's molded as a person, for sure.
Jeez.
All right. Next up from Boom, we've got Origins number 6. This is the final issue in Origins. We have slowly reviewed this book, or I have, and I was a little right in my preview of this book. But basically, what we get is the main guy in this book, the guy that's on the cover. His caretaker, who ends up being a robot version of his wife in his previous life, is infected by the hive mind of the new intelligence, the Vault, or whatever they're called. And so in this issue, he plays to her emotions, which she shouldn't have, because she's a robot, but she's evolved to have them. And so when she's being consumed by the Vault, she infects the Vault with her feelings, essentially. And so that ends up crushing this wave of destruction that was coming after them. So he survives, and all the robots that were with him survive, and the vault, this AI, disintegrates and dies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when this all was going down, the vault was trying to infect the embryos that were in the vault, that were in his base, and trying to kill all life so that they would be the only thing that survived. And so when they did that, they infected some of those embryos. So as time passed on, and he was kind of sulking because he lost his love, his caretaker, the robots continue to try to persevere life. And as they're doing this, they realize that the only embryos that are actually manifesting and becoming living beings are the ones that were hacked by the hive mind. What we find out is that when she infected the hive mind, she was able to put a piece of herself in these embryos. And so what comes of this is a hybrid of technology and human, a new race of being that is born out of this. So he becomes an old man. They come to this discovery that the only embryos that are actually manifesting are the ones that have infected AI in them. And he realizes that it's her, that it's Chloe, it's his caretaker/wife. And so the first child that is born is a girl. And so they've realized that they can save humanity with this new race of living organism that is part AI, part machine, and human. So there's a mixture of both. And so the first embryo that is actually born is a girl, and he decides to name, the book ends with him deciding to name her Chloe. And the book ends the way it began, which is Chloe reanimating, I think his name is David, from organic techno shit.
Right.
So it's a full circle. So Origins, obviously, so it's a full circle book. It was fucking cool. And like you said, you want to experience this in a trade. I think you should.
Oh, I will for sure.
And you definitely want to read this from beginning to end to get the full scope. But when I read it, I was like, oh, that's fucking clever. I really hope this becomes a show or a movie. I think it would do really well. Really cool. Again, artwork's a little trippy, but if you can get past that, it's really good. Written very well. Chapman did a great job. So that is Origins number 6. All right, Magic. Oh. I was looking, like when you were talking about 7 Secrets, I was like, well, we got to be getting close to the end. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. So now we have 4 books. I don't think we're ever going to do a 23 or 26 book. We're just going to have to cut some books or like cut up the show. Magic number 1. Pre-show notes, I told you I read this book. I thought the first half of the book for me was really hard to get through, and the second half of this book for me was really fun. And I guess that says because I want some action, and that's what we get. And you were explaining it to me. You're like, well, no, the first part of the book was for all the non-Magic players, and the second part of the book was for the Magic players that know what the fuck's going on and know the movesets. And I was like, oh, well, I like the second. I like the second half better.
That's all that matters.
But it was good. It was fun. It wasn't. I don't know if I think I'll continue to pick up this book because I am intrigued at the second half of the book. But I will say that the first half, like the spoon feeding to tell you what is going on in this world, was a bit of a turnoff for me. I'll just say that. And I think it's just the way it was presented. Like we hop from guild to guild to guild, but we do it with every version of the thing. So here's the guild, here's the member, here's the master, and let's do it over again. And it just, for me, the repetition of it was just kind of off-putting in my mind. I mean, I could be, your interpretation might be different. I'm sure it is. But to me, the first half of this book was just kind of like, I get it. We're trying to establish it, but the way you're delivering it to me is just it's not doing it for me. The second half, when we got introduced to the actual guild masters and their craft, I was like, hell yeah. the blindless assassins that came and attacked one of them. I thought that was really fucking cool. Like, it's so one of these characters, I guess, is like a Medusa figure. If you look into her eyes, you'll turn into stone. But she was attacked by blind assassins, so she couldn't use her magic to turn them to stone. I was like, that's fucking clever. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to really describe this book. I think if you're into magic, you're gonna know. If you play the game, I think you're gonna read this book and be like, hell yeah, I got a comic book now. If you're not into magic, I don't know if this book, for me personally, I'm not like, yep, I'm gonna go play magic now. This book did not accomplish that. That being said, the prospect of a new world and a new book is very intriguing to me. So yes, I will continue to read too. I'm not even going to try to like diagnose and synopsis the book because there's just a lot. They pack so much into this book. But the artwork is cool, and I think the coloring in this book is really good too. And again, the second half of the book, once it actually starts moving and we get into character development and what's really going on, I think was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you did it right. Like, the first part of the book is the setup, which, yeah, I mean, I actually did really enjoy, or not really enjoy, but like I liked it. I like, even though I'm not going to remember any of the names, I like them. Just saying, all right. I'm just like, all right, listen, this is this place and this place, and these are these people. This is this, so that I have a place that I can go back and be like, okay, yeah, no, okay, now I got it. Okay,
yeah.
I like having that all laid out. But then, we really get just like what this story is going to be, or at least what this first arc is going to be, which is basically someone's attacking the guild members or the heads of the guilds, and we're going to figure out who it is. We're going to band together and figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Essentially what the story is. We were invited to read this book, and if we didn't enjoy it, we could just sort of just whatever. But I kept it, and I'm glad I read it. I'm going to pick up issue 2 as well. There are things that, like, sometimes I just get, we get 26 books. You're like, something's got to go. This would probably be one of the first ones. However, this book is scratching an itch that I don't really have yet, and that's fantasy. Like actual
Last God.
Yeah, exactly. And like Last God was so damn good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have that. Like we've got our superheroes, we've got some horror, we've got I've got detective shit. There's all kinds of stuff, but I don't really have a fantasy like a trolls and orcs and Medusa ladies and magic out of our fingers. Like, I don't have that right now. And so this, I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting to read this and just be like, whoop. And I'm not. I'm going to get issue 2 because I'm interested to see where the story goes, and it also scratches that itch.
It's definitely intriguing if you're into that, massive deposition and like setting up and world building. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I just think the delivery for me was it just wasn't there. But after that, oh yeah, like about it. So yeah. I'm with you. I will definitely be picking up issue 2.
Yeah.
All right, I got Nocturne number 2.
Pick of the week.
It's your pick of the week. Nocturne number 2.
Finally to my pick of the week.
Jesus, it only took us 24 books.
Yes. So I am not going, even though this is my pick of the week, I'm not going to.
I wouldn't spoil a damn thing.
Not exactly. I'm not going to spoil anything. So, I really enjoyed that we got another glimpse into the early days of everything going black. I forgot her name. Damn it!
It's okay.
Sundog is her call name. Anyway, she basically talks about how like everybody's sort of slowly over time started getting a little bonkers, and her brother at one point's like, well, maybe this is like the lobby for heaven. Like maybe like
nope.
This is like we're gonna go to heaven pretty soon. And she's like, yeah, maybe, bud, maybe.
I'll perpetuate the lie, but I know the truth.
Definitely not gonna happen. But it helps to serve to show you the closeness, I think, of their bond and how much she is like a caretaker for him. But basically, this story is they've got to charge the truck. They've been going for a long time. They've got to charge the truck, and we see this really, really cool double panel scene. Amazing artwork where it's basically like they call it a port because they say, driving trucks is in the dark is more like, steering a boat and sea, yada, yada.
Right.
But she basically goes there to start stocking up on things that they need to start charging at the truck. And the old man is like, hey, just before before my granddaughter says anything, by the way, like, I'm inventing this thing about molecular cosmic blah, 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 and maybe we're going to make the light come back. And she's like, yeah, so how about you stop lying to me? Because I can tell that, because in the first issue, he claims that he's from this sanctuary that they're going to.
Right.
She's like, I know that your tan is bullshit, and obviously you've been living on the land because you know exactly how to hold that plant. Because if you hold it wrong at all, it like makes your hands swell up and get stinky. Okay. And she's like, so how about you quit bullshitting me and tell me the truth? And he's like, nope, that's the truth. And then she gets a call from back at the base. Actually, before that, she's having a conversation with her brother, and she notices that his hand is starting to turn black.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse. The virus is getting to him. And while they're having this conversation, she gets a call from, back at that base and basically says, hey, someone's after you guys. Like, they just, like, came in here and killed some people and lit up a bunch of trucks and set them on fire. Like, someone's coming. You better watch out. So, obviously, she gets upset and pulls a gun on the old man and is like, all right, now you're going to tell me who's after me. And now you're like, what the fuck is going on? And before he can really do anything, this mysterious, shadowy guy shows up with his whole crew, which they've got awesome, like, Mad Max style cars and motorcycles and stuff.
I think his nickname should be like White Teeth, because like that's all you see. All you see is his teeth.
All you see is his teeth. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Everything else is just fully filled in black.
That being said, very Batman Who Laughs vibes, like the way he's drawn, like when you see his teeth, and that's obviously a Snyder thing. So just kind of a parallel there,
right? So basically, they hop into the truck and they start driving away from these people. And he's like, hey, she's like, what are you going to do to them? Like, so he's somehow talking to her through her helmet. I forgot about that part. And she's like, well, what are you going to do to them? And he's like, well, I'll kill the girl quickly. Like, it's whatever. But, the old man, I'm going to, huh?
She doesn't matter to me, basically.
Yeah. She's like, but the old man, I'm going to drag him behind my car slowly till his skin comes off, or I'm going to drive fast until the skin comes off, and I'm going to drive slowly until he dies. And it's like, oh, shit. And he's like, but what's more important is, I work for powerful people that have the things that could save your brother super easily. Like, we can totally save your brother. And so she stops the truck and starts backing it up. And, the guy in the back is just pleading and is like, listen, like, I'll tell you anything you want. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yes, I was lying to you. Like, the technology shit is real, but like, I have been living out here. I've never been to this sanctuary, but I feel like it's real. But, yes, I've been living out in this hell with you, and like, it's the truth. And, basically she just decides like, okay, like, yeah, like, he is telling me the truth. All of this stuff is true. So, I guess we're going to go see if this sanctuary place is real. And she like drops grenades out of the back of the truck, and speeds away.
And the, shiny teeth is like, clever girl. Like I get a chase now.
He says, oh, I like you. So says something funny like that.
So we're definitely going to get a chase in this book. Yeah, no, I know this is your pick of the week. I really enjoyed this issue. I thought it was good. I'm so glad that you talked me into reading this book and picking it up. I'm all aboard. I'm all aboard.
It's just God.
I was gonna say I know Jacob is just like, I don't want to like it, but I like it.
Yeah, it's a unique world. I really enjoy the storytelling aspect here. The first issue was really good, but one complaint Jacob had at the shop was like, oh, it just felt like it was being made for a movie. And while I don't necessarily agree, I can see what that is. But this to me was just classic comic book storytelling. Like, it was really good art. Like, it was using the styles of a comic book to tell the story, not like, oh, how do we make this look like it's almost like movie storyboards? It
sure,
was, to me, it wasn't like that at all.
Good comic, good story. Make it a movie. Thank you.
Well, yes, I'm just saying.
I want that.
Yes, I agree. I'm just saying I don't feel like this.
Yeah, I see.
He said it in a negative way. It's not negative. It's good. I like it.
Nah, you're absolutely right. All right, next up, we're just rolling on. Geiger, #1 from Image Comics. From who is this again? Jeff Johns. I'm supposed to know who this is.
Yeah, some guy. I don't know. He wrote a book. Made a movie.
Quick premise. So basically, what we have here, we're dealing with nuclear. Another nuclear story. Essentially, you've got this guy, Geiger. His last name is Geiger. Overly paranoid, but rightfully so, apparently. There's this day that happens where a bomb drops, and he's running to get his family into a bunker, and before he can get into the bunker with him, his neighbors show up and goes, "Give us your bunker, we'll kill you." And he locks his family in the bunker, and he proceeds to get shot by his neighbors, and they're like, "Open the fucking door or we're gonna kill you." And he's like, I do anything to save my family. And before they can essentially execute him, bomb drops, blows up, they get incinerated, and we would assume Geiger gets destroyed. But he didn't. He is the glowing man. He is the man of radiation. And basically this book is him surviving after the bomb drops and trying to figure out a way to get to his family in the bunker. And I'm sure they're probably dead, but he's assuming that they're alive. Well, you've got this society that is built now after this post-apocalyptic nuclear world that's in Vegas, and they're sending people out to try to find supplies. And Geiger has a lot of supplies. And so you've got this group of guys that are in suits, hazmat suits, that go to his place to try to get supplies from them. And they think that Geiger is a myth. They don't think he's real. And then he shows up. And when they see him, he's flesh, right? But he's not wearing a hazmat suit. So they're already like, this dude's whack, he's crazy. And then he activates his radiation powers, and he becomes all glowy, and you can see his skull and his skin. And he's got these two fighting sticks, and he's like, "Get the fuck off my property!" And he starts beating the shit out of him. So there's this power struggle going on between these people that need supplies and Geiger's not letting up because he wants to get to his family. At the end of the book, we find out that the people that are sending him out, are these cartels in Vegas. And so, the prominent hotels, Camelot, the Pyramid, New York, just a bunch of different casino hotels. There are different people, different personalities that are trying to vie for power within Vegas. And so that's how the book ends, is that you've got these groups, and we start off with the Camelot character, who is this kid who thinks he's a king, who's insane. And he's sending his soldiers out and his people to try to get supplies from Geiger, essentially. And so they're on a conquest to kill the glowing man. This book was crazy. I thought it was really good. It was drawn really well. The story's really good. It was almost my pick of the week, but the Vegas thing kind of threw me off a little bit. When we jumped into Camelot and I was like, wait, there's fucking knights. But then you realize that it's this guy that's playing fantasy. He's fucking insane. And so he has all his men dress up like knights and make sure that he's like king. But that being said, it was a crazy story. I really liked it, and it was almost my pick of the week, but Batman was better. But that being said, I'm going to continue. I'm going to put this on my pull list. I think this cover is fantastic, and I've got high hopes for this series.
I
didn't like it.
I'm not super hot on this book.
Okay.
I liked it. I liked the first half of the book. I like this cool character that kind of turns into this like pseudo nuclear superhero guy, whatever. And it turns out that he's been like, living all this. It's 20 years is how long it's been. And then he walks over to the door where his family's supposed to be, and he says, "I'm here until it's safe to open the door and we can be a family again." And so right away that tells me he can open the door to get in. He just isn't. He's left his family in there for 20 years.
Right.
And what the hell does he think is going to happen that's going to be more safe than them just being in that bunker? So either is he just waiting for some miracle? Is he worried about the radiation?
Well,
and that they come out.
I think you've hit two nails right there that I might be able to answer. So one, yes, he's worried about the radiation. He literally doesn't have to wear a suit, but I think he would kill somebody that isn't already exposed to that stuff. And so he's worried about that because he loves his family, so he doesn't want to expose them to radiation. And then the miracle aspect that you said, and I'm literally, this is off the cuff because I wasn't thinking about this, but you say the miracle thing. Well, he's supposed to be dead. He got incinerated. Like his skeleton, he got whittled down to it. Like he was exposed to a nuclear blast, right? So he shouldn't be alive at all. So what's stopping there from being an actual miracle to fix things? I know I'm leaping here. I know that this is a big leap, but that's my mindset, is that there's something going on that he may think that something is possible, so that he will get to see his family again. I mean, look, he's alive. And I think Robbie said this about this book. He said he really likes the fact that this book isn't another like beware of the nuclear end, right? It's a completely different take on a nuclear drop, and it's more about a personal story of an individual rather than like, hey, don't drop a bomb or you'll make Godzilla. Not that there's anything wrong with that story, but this one's more of like, yeah, he's the byproduct of nuclear waste, or what's the word? Exposure. But this is more of a superhero story and a genuine family story rather than a warning of nuclear war.
Yeah, I don't buy it at all in the slightest bit. Like to me, it is a absolutely stupid premise of there. I personally can't see any way how this gets resolved that makes any fucking sense. The dude's left his family in there for 20 years. If he's worried about him exposing himself to them, that's not going to fucking change. If he's worried about the outside killing them, that's not going to fucking change. Like, just open the door and get them out and try to like live far away from them. But hey, or like right. It's just Johns has already dug himself a hole that makes no goddamn sense to get out of. Also, that was only the first thing that irritated me. The second thing that irritated me more was the Las Vegas shit. Like, I was just like,
that was weird. That was weird.
I was just like, wait, so I was like, wait, a king? Like, that's fucking dumb. And I was like, oh, it's Camelot, and there's just a normal Las Vegas, just chilling with electricity, and we're just fucking chilling. And then it started showing the breakdown of different people that are living in different areas, and I was like, this seems like a really badly veiled copy of Undiscovered Country, and I'm just not that interested.
That's okay.
So I will pick up issue 2 because I don't let things go very easily, but
it's got a steep hill to climb. Yeah, you're right.
It's got a steep hill to climb.
Did Jacob give us his opinion on this book? I can't remember.
I don't think he did.
I felt like he said this was his pick of the week.
No, he said Silver Coin was his pick.
That's right, Silver Coin. Oh, well, speaking of Silver Coin.
Silver
Coin, number 1 from Image Comics. Written by Chip Zdarsky, which is just this issue.
Yes.
And then Walsh is on the art throughout the entire series. So,
anthology book. Chip Zdarsky first. So basically the main character is the Silver Coin. That's the only thing that's going to be appearing.
Ooh.
So basically we have a rock band in the 1970s, 78 to be exact. and they're not that great. And they play to like an empty bar, and they're just, you know, kind of bummed out about it. And one day they're chilling out, smoking and drinking and talking, and the guitarist starts going through his mom's old shit. His mom has left him and his dad, and just left behind this box of junk. And inside he finds a silver coin. And he's like, well, that's cool. Like, I don't know why my mom had this, but it's cool. And he puts it in his pocket. And then one day, while he is playing, practicing, he realizes, oh shit, I don't have a pick. And he's like, oh, why don't I just use this fucking silver coin that I got? And so he uses the silver, which, by the way, as a person that plays guitar, no one would ever fucking do that. They just wouldn't do that. Yeah. It would fucking tear up your strings. That's so stupid. So he's like, wow, yeah, I'm going to use this silver coin as my pick. And it's amazing. And they get so into it. And they're all, you know, the drummer and the bassist are like, fuck yeah, this is great. It sounds amazing. And while he's playing, he accidentally cuts his finger on the guitar strings, which you can kind of see on the cover here.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, shit, that kind of hurt, but holy shit, this thing's magic. And so, like, on one page, they're like, there's only one thing it could be. It was magic. And I was like, huh, funny. Like, oh, it's magic. Then the next page, they're like, well, I don't know. What kind of magic is it? And I was like, wait, what? You just be like, yep, it's magic. We're cool with that. Yep, it's magic.
It's the 1970s, dude. Everything's trippy.
No, you're being funny, but like, that's not, you don't get to just write off bad writing like that.
I'm not saying, I'm just, God. You get, the later we go, the more frustrating you get.
No, you just saved the two books that frustrated me the most for last. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to use this thing. And so they use it to start playing. And everyone's like, fuck yeah, your music's amazing. You're so good. Like, oh my God, keep playing. And as they keep getting better and better because of this coin, the guitarist keeps getting a bigger and bigger head. And we see that, you know, his finger's not healing. Excuse me. And, you know, he's constantly have to get a Band-Aid on it, and it's just bleeding all the time, but he doesn't care. And he's always out there rocking. And at one point, the bar owner says, you know, hey, I'm going to introduce you to my friend that, you know, I don't know, runs a record label or writes for a magazine or some shit.
Yeah.
And he introduces him to him. And he's like, yeah, man, like, your good sound, you guys are great, but like, we're doing the whole disco thing right now, so you guys should do some disco, and then once that's done, you can go back to... excuse me?
Oh my God.
Do I need to end the podcast right now?
Stop, keep going.
I'll just go ahead and say this. If you don't like disco, that might be racist. So
it's not that I don't like... We're not getting into this. Continue. I think of disco as like the Bee Gees.
God, then you don't know what disco is.
Okay, so there you go. Thank guys, the podcast doesn't have to end. Continue.
And so he's like, fuck you, man, like, we're not doing that, we're amazing, and we're gonna keep doing rock and roll, and hell yeah. And so they go out there and keep doing their thing, but eventually he feels like the band is holding him back, and he, you know, takes the earlier in the book, he's offered a gig as the guitarist on this disco band that plays the big shows, and he's like, you know what, if I'm going to do something, I need to do something big. Y'all are holding me back. Y'all aren't into it. And so he plays guitar for the disco band, and he's playing, he's fucking rocking out, and everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah, it's so amazing, and everyone's great, and
disco will live on forever.
He keeps playing, and like all of a sudden his finger starts bleeding, and it starts feeding a little bit more, and he's like, oh fuck, I can't fucking stop. And his like fingers like getting fucking obliterated, and blood's just going everywhere. And then a guy's like, oh shit, and gets shocked, and his cigarette falls out of his mouth, and then that catches on a curtain on fire, and the bassist is standing on the curtain, and for some reason he's just sitting there playing, and he's like, I can't fucking stop.
Can't stop playing.
He starts burning, and then the singer's like, yeah, I can't stop, I fucking singing. And then the guitarist is on fire. His fucking finger is down to the goddamn bone, and there's blood everywhere. They're all just like, we can't stop. And then they all burn down.
They all die.
And the firefighter's like, I just don't understand. Like, there was no accelerant, and like nobody was by the exits. Like, they all just burned where they were standing. And and then they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, he says, because Louis here, like, looking for a fire sale, don't mind him. And they're like, wait, what? He's like, oh yeah, he's a guy that comes to try to find, see if he'll find anything good from the fire. And then just out in the middle of shit is a hand sticking up with a little coin. You're like, oh, wow, like that was so convenient.
I love that you're totally shitting on this book because you were. Hold on. Okay, so there's your synopsis, yes?
Yeah.
But let's take a couple. I know this is our last book. We want to go to bed, but hear me out.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Wednesday. No, when do we get our books a little early? We'll say that now.
We're there Wednesday.
And so Nick goes, you gonna pick up silver coin? And I'm like, nah, I don't know. Probably not. I mean, you showed me that second cover and I'm not really digging it. And he's like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
And Jacob's like, yeah. Jacob goes, you're not going to pick up silver coin? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just not. And then we get into this huge discussion about Hellraiser comics and fucking blood and gore and your other book that you're reading that's got entrails of people fucking stringing their
Fear Case,
7
which also had
mile long
an issue this week, but I didn't review it.
Anyway, so they're all about pick up this comic. It's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it because it's Chip Zdarsky and Daredevil's amazing. So I pick it up and I read it, and it was okay. I wasn't like, this is stupid. I thought it was like, okay, this is fun. This is color me intrigued, just a shade. Okay. So when I come to talk to you about it and you're like, yeah, I didn't like it. Fucking hated it. I'm like, you do all this coaxing and all this, hey man, you gotta fucking read it, man. You got Chip Zdarsky, and then you got Thompson, and then you got, who's the last guy? Jeff Lemire. And I'm like, all I'm hearing is like writers that I like, right? And now we get to this review and you're like, I'm stupid.
No, I didn't know.
That being
said, I had faith in Zdarsky and he let me down.
Wow. I mean, like you said, we had 26 books. Not everyone's going to pop, not everyone's going to pass the test.
It's true.
That being said, will you pick up issue 2?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 6-issue anthology. I'll pick up every issue, but
okay. But you're starting off disappointed.
I'm starting off disappointed because it to me, it just like, this is supposed to be a horror book, and like there was nothing scary like at all in the slightest bit. Nothing, like literally just no even elements of horror. Just nothing. I was very disappointed in that. And then like the premise was just, I actually got more upset reading the book the second time because I read it and I was like, I don't know, maybe I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe I just didn't get it. And so I read it again and it was like, no, it's dumb. And then reviewing it and like looking at the pages again just now, I'm just like, it's just dumb. Like, I don't know.
No. Yeah, I get you. I think
it's so frustrating because like sometimes people just miss and sometimes readers just miss. And so I don't want to tell people, like, if you're a huge Chip Zdarsky fan, like I'm a massive Chip Zdarsky fan. It's why I picked the book up. But for whatever reason, one of us missed on this book and didn't work.
No, that is the beauty of comics. We pick them up and we see what we like and what we don't like. And we give our honest opinion. But, the one thing that we're not doing about this book, the fact that we were kind of meh on it or didn't like it, is we're going, don't ever read comic books again. This industry is dying, and I'm gonna make an angry video. No,
AT&T hates comic books.
And now we're getting loopy because it's almost halfway to midnight. That being said, like Nate said, pick it up for yourself. Read it for yourself. We're never going to tell you to not pick up a book outside of like someone being blatantly racist in their book and the publisher was like, miss, and we'll be like, don't pick up that book. But that's never going to happen. So I don't know if I'm going to pick up issue 2, and it's not because I didn't enjoy it, but because I read the preview and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like B film horror. like being chased by the monster at the lake house.
We'll see. That's this. We'll see if it's real horror.
Who's the writer for that one?
Kelly Thompson.
Kelly Thompson. So we'll see. I'll have to look at it.
She's writing badass Captain Marvel right now.
That is true. You're right. And so is Chip Zdarsky's writing badass Daredevil, and this didn't hit.
It didn't hit, man. Didn't. Someone missed.
Anyway, well,
That's
we did it.
Video for Silver Coin. Someone missed.
Someone missed. Well, we did it. 26 books, 3 hours and 24 minutes.
Again.
Never again. We are definitely dropping books or just saying, like, here are our notable mentions. Go pick it up if you want to. I think we are at most, 16 book show. If we cannot do 20 plus ever again. This was intense. Tomorrow I got to edit and pick out 5 or 6 videos. So I'm going to have fun with that. But that being said, we enjoy this shit. Why are we complaining? We're talking about comics. So, like I say all the time, if you're watching this live and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Enter our giveaway. If you're watching this as a past episode, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. We would love your support. We're trying to get to 100, and then we're going to try to hit.
So we can give you free shit.
Yeah, we want to give you free shit. We want to give you slabs. I literally invested in slabs, and we're going to do it. Add a little speed round portion. LOL. You're right, Comics by Cover. You have it totally. We will do that. If we ever hit a week again like this, we're going to be like, bang, 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 bang. Because that's just, we have to, because this was brutal. But we live and we learn, right? But thanks again, guys, for watching. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button, hitting that bell. And if you don't hit it, hey, I'm glad you're here anyway. I'm glad you're watching. Glad you decided to spend your Friday night with us. So we'll see you guys next week with another comic book haul video and a live show on Friday at 8 o'clock. Hopefully, it's definitely not going to be $20. It's more like 12. But we'll see you guys next week. And as always, read some more comics. We'll see you guys later.
Good night.